that we are being live streamed on the back, just so everybody's aware of that. So we have some guests here. Senators, we are going to move to amend the agenda to allow for that. All right. So, cool. We can approve the minutes later. Alright, so now that has been changed, sorry, hold on. Thank you all. No, you're fine. Thank you. Yes.
That means to say public.
Sorry.
Stream online, so it says stream.
Thank you.
Oh.
No, just
streaming.
public forum.
What?
Public forum. 3 dots. Public forum.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. Keep going. There you go. There you go.
Great. Cool. Okay, so there are little half slips. I was not able to print one for everybody, but if you guys want to start passing them around so people can look at them at least. I'll read through it just so that.
Was there a motion to approve the agenda?
Seconded?
Yeah,
it was, yeah.
General consent.
Yes. Yeah. Nobody spoke out. So before I go over this though, there are a lot of people. So I'd like to go around and do introductions. If you can just say your name and why you're here. My name is Lily Keplinger. I'm the Speaker of the Senate, and I'm here for today. Yep.
Candace Martinez-Stone, Assistant Director for Leadership and Governance, and I am the SGA Advisor.
I'm Dan Barnhart, the Director for Campus Live.
I'm Brenda. I'm the Executive Vice President of SGA.
Hi, I'm Colin. I'm the President of SGA.
I'm Keelan. I'm a Senator.
I'm Patrick. I'm a senator as well. Yeah, I'm Jordan. I'm a senator.
Oh, I'm Yasmin, or yes. No position, just here.
I'm Reese. I'm an SGA first year ambassador.
I'm Mike. I'm no position.
I'm Brandon. I'm the Assistant Speaker for Senate.
I'm Hope. I'm representing SED.
I'm Liam Kim, Senator.
Philip Brooks, just being here as an activist.
My name is Kai Aegis, and I'm Senator.
Marion Bojo, Senator.
My name is John Fire. I am the Executive Director of the LGBTQ Student Union, as well as a member of Stop UMBC.
I'm Erin. I am an organizer with Stop UMBC, and I'm president of UMBC Progressives.
I'm Simone. I'm Secretary of UMBC Progressives and member of Stop UMBC.
Hi, my name is Quinn. I am Vice President of UMBC Progressives, and I'm here with Stop UMBC. Cody, Steve, and Scott.
Bella, also just here with Stop UMBC. I'm Jared. I'm a senator.
Hi, I'm Serafina Harper. I graduated a year ago and I'm here as an independent reporter. I've been researching systemic cover-up of sexual assault on UMBC campus for several years since I was a student here, and I'm here today to see if we can make some headway with our covering this. You all know what's been going on our campus for years and years.
My name is Hannah Zavala. I'm Gabby Zavala.
I'm constitutional, sitting here as a student and a reporter for the multiple examiner, trying to get a better idea what's going on next.
I'm Marissa. I'm a student. I'm really upset with what's going on, so I wanted to come here and listen. My name is Tanya.
I'm Chance Pierce, the third.
I'm Wolf. I'm the potential SGA candidate. I'm a student. I'm Morgan. I'm here with Stop UMBC.
I'm Sam. I'm here with Stop UMBC.
My name's Dave. I'm here as a visitor from Stop UMBC.
I'm Chris. I'm also with Stop UMBC.
I'm Destiny. I'm Treasurer of the LGBT Student Union, and I'm here with Stop UMBC.
I'm Terrence.
I'm Sonia. I'm treasurer of the UMBC Progressives and here with Stop UMBC.
I'm Cole and I'm here with Stop UMBC. I'm Shannon. I'm here with Stop UMBC. I'm the social membership director of the LGBTQ student union. I'm the match secretary for rugby.
Did we miss anybody?
Okay.
I think that there's at least one more chair over here.
There's two more.
Yeah,
There's
two more if you guys want to come and sit down. So that's all right.
Okay. So thank you all for being here. As we move into the public forum, I know there wasn't enough slips, so I do want to read it out for everybody, so that we're all on the same page. This will serve as kind of guide, like ground rules, and also so everybody has an understanding of how this process will go. So the Senate looks forward to hearing public comments from a maximum of 5 individuals. Those individuals have been worked out amongst a group, and they have signed up before the meeting begins. Each individual shall have no more than 3 minutes to discuss or present relevant and important issues faced by the UMBC community. Testimony related to SGA personnel and the SGA budget is excluded from the public forum. This matter shall be granted either a unique public forum session or shall be discussed with the president of the SGA or designee. Due to limited time, the Senate may not directly respond to the individual's comment, but one senator must respond via written correspondence before the next regular Senate meeting. So with that being said, does anybody have any questions or?
Can they just say their name once before they start talking?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can we do name and year or something? Name, year, major.
Sure.
Pronouns.
Pronouns would be helpful. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so with that, I'm just going to go down the list. There will be a timer up ahead. As people are nearing their 3 minutes, they'll be allowed to finish their statement, and then we'll move on to the next person. So John, you're going to start.
Okay. My name is John Clark. I'm a third-year student. I'm a psychology major, and I use any pronouns. I'm here with Stop UMBC. We are a survivor-centered student coalition demanding a lasting and ongoing change in the way that cases of sexual misconduct and violence are handled within the UMBC community, especially at the administrative and judicial level. In light of recently filed lawsuits with entities that made plaintiffs, we demand that UMBC heed our listed grievances and demands and actively work to create a safe, healthy, and inclusive environment for survivors. At this time, I'm going to read out demands that we are submitting to administration. For his failure to enact justice, for his use of fear tactics against survivors, for his disregard for safety, we demand that Paul Dillon, UMBC Chief of Police, be immediately removed from his position in the university, with all new candidates for his position vetted by a task force consisting of representatives from cultural organizations, survivor organizations, social justice organizations, and student government, dedicated to auditing the rebuilding process, hereafter referred to as the Rebuilding Committee, otherwise known as the RC. For her unwillingness to pursue the full process of justice in Title IX investigations, for her constant mishandling and delay of cases, for her lack of communication, we demand that Bobby Hoy, Title IX Coordinator, Human Relations Officer, and Assistant General Counsel be immediately suspended pending investigation from her position in the university, with all new candidates for her position vetted by the RC. Furthermore, the Title IX office should be expanded and restructured to an extent that it can reliably return an investigation within 60 days. For his incompetent handling of cases under his care, for returning massive and preventable delays in investigations, we demand that Eric Kim, Title IX investigator, be immediately suspended pending investigation from his position in the university, with all new candidates vetted by the RC. For doing nothing as players under his leadership commit gross abuses, for being complicit in the cover-up, for allowing rapists to play for his team, we demand that Bob Newmont, head coach of the UMBC Retrievers baseball team, be immediately suspended pending investigation from his position in the university, with all new candidates for his position vetted by the RC. For knowingly employing a student while said student was the subject of a rape investigation, for continuing to employ that student currently in a position of competence, we demand Carlos Alexis Tercios, Program Associate for Diversity and Inclusion, be immediately suspended pending investigation from his position in the university, with all new candidates for his position vetted by the RC. Said student must also be removed. And I'll let the next person on the list continue reading our demands, which would be Shannon Ashley. You have the list?
Yes.
And you know what I left on?
Yes.
All right.
I'm Shannon. She, her pronouns, I'm a second year. So I'll continue reading the demands. For allowing this issue to fester unaddressed, and for admitting to brush over the issue with a wholly inadequate and misleading apology, we demand that the entirety of the upper administration apologize for their failure to handle the situation, as well as for their initial statement on Friday, September 14th. We demand that the administration hold meetings at a minimum of twice a month with the RC to address the issues in these grievances and promote a survivor-centered climate. In order to properly address the failures highlighted by the current investigation, we demand the following steps are taken to improve the UMBC campus climate for sexual violence survivors. 1. We demand a nationally recognized survivors group must be paid to consult on and implement new sexual assault response policies at the university. 2. We demand the implementation of a more comprehensive and mandatory preventative sexual assault education for all UMBC paid employees, especially the UMBC Police Department, be discussed and approved by the RC. 3. We demand the implementation of a mandatory preventative in-person sexual assault education approved by the RC for all UMBC students, including undergraduate students, graduate students, and transfer students, and a block on class registration for non-compliant students who will be provided several opportunities to complete the program. 4. Recognizing that many perpetrators have benefited from and continue to benefit from scholarships, both athletic and merit-based, we demand any student accused of sexual misconduct be suspended from all positions within UMBC, leadership roles, paid or otherwise, and sports teams pending investigation, and be placed on financial probation until the completion of the investigation. 5. Considering the criteria for a Title IX appeal, the decision process can take longer than a week and a half. Therefore, we demand the Title IX office informs all individuals going through their process of all deadlines regarding the appeals process within and outside the Title IX office. 6. In light of the total failure of the Title IX office on campus to deliver justice, we demand the Title IX office on campus must be expanded to include investigators and advocates who have been approved by the RC, as well as participating in a holistic outreach campaign, which should include but not be limited to the following: tabling at all student-oriented multi-organizational events, distribution of student health posters on campus, advertisement campaigns and campus circulars, and tabling in high-traffic areas on campus. In addition, we demand the office reinstate the Voices Against Violence program and hire a full-time coordinator approved by the RC who is dedicated to supporting survivors. And I can let the next person continue from there.
Before we move on to the next person, I just want to remind everybody that just came in, we are being live streamed, just for your information. And so yes, Erin, I saw that you were moved to the first spot. Sorry, did you want to talk about after the? Okay, so kid or
third year sociology major, she, her pronouns. Demand 7. As survivors are often left without adequate medical care services on campus, we demand the health services on campus must be overhauled with a larger, better trained and equipped staff, including an on-call family practice position in the UHS, as well as nurses trained to administer rape kits. UHS hours must be expanded to a full 24-hour service to include the weekend, and after-hours counseling must be provided at the counseling center. Furthermore, we demand that the UHS and counseling center not be moved away from the residential areas of campus. Demand 8. The safety of students has been routinely disregarded by campus administration. We demand the number of blue lights be increased until a blue light can be seen from every other blue light on campus. Update antiquated blue light pillars, and a plan for their maintenance must be adopted. Demand 9. Since there are situations where sexual violence occurs in tandem with extra-legal activities, in order to encourage the reporting of these incidents and engender a safe environment for those reports, we demand reporters and survivors of sexual violence must be provided legal amnesty for extra-legal activities which occurred tangentially to the incident described in the report. Demand 10. To make best use of resources available to students, we demand the formatting of the information on red cards and residential life IDs be revamped to add emergency and crisis support phone numbers. We demand to be heard, we demand change, and we demand justice. It's the end of our demands. Stop doing this.
Would you like to donate your time to
Sure.
Hello, my name is Erin. Stop doing UMBC. She, we pronouns, I am an 8th year junior, and I am a political science major. So I want to thank you all for letting us take up your time and for hearing our demands. We are hoping that as our student representatives in the SGA, that you will support us in our endeavors to get these demands met. We would be gratified if you would consider passing a resolution in favor of them and helping us navigate the campus bureaucracy. There's no one better at doing it than SGA. So we're here to ask you for your support in whatever ways you're able to give it to us in our quest for justice here at UMBC. And I also want to thank everybody that came out in support of Stop UMBC and to listen as well.
Would anybody from We Believe You like to speak in Aaron's time slot? Autumn?
Do I have to stand? I will. Okay.
Can you say your name, major, and pronoun?
Sure. So I'm Haley Owens. I am a sophomore here at UMBC. My major is biochemistry, pre-med, minor in psychology, and I'm associated with We Believe You. I'm the lead discussion group leader. So We Believe You is a support and advocacy group. And our main purpose is to support survivors and allies of survivors. Our campus student-led organization has been operational since going on a year. And so I was asked many questions today by our fellow student body asking what actions we're taking to support our survivors. And I'd like to emphasize that all of the actions we're doing today and moving forward are to support those who are survivors. Don't let that be pushed to the side. I encourage all of you, even though we are in a time of critical social justice, that we can't lead with anger. That just deters people away. And so as though I understand a lot of passion is in the room, but I also understand there's a lot of anger in the room. And I am also angry, but moreover, I'm hurt. And I will let that lead me, and with my heart, I will not lead with iron fist. And I wish for change too. And I implore that, and I welcome you all to please engage with the survivors around you. Please let them know that you are supporters. Please let them know of resources here on campus. There's plenty of them. We Believe You is one of which. And please ensure people that we are working on these demands, but we're also working close with the university as well. And what I mean by that is, I mean that, we and many other student organizations are working intimately with UMBC admin and staff to help engage with the student body so that we hear them. And as I've heard many times today by admin of UMBC and representatives, that this is a time of not action on their part. They want to listen, and I applaud them for doing that. And moreover, I hear that they have done wrong by everyone, and that they're taking action now as well. So please, again, let the emphasis of this time be with supporting survivors, not burning the university down. We don't want to do that. That's never going to happen. We can't burn this university down. We need to make it better. And I'm here to say that I will make it better, and I invite you to do that as well. So please, again, I implore you and I encourage you to remind people of these resources, and that We Believe You is one of them, and that you are there. So whether that be engaging in training sessions or whether that be engaging in We Believe You, keep that in mind as we move forward, and thank you for all of your efforts.
Nick was not in attendance at this moment. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in Nate's time slot from We Believe You or Stop UMBC?
I'll speak. Hi, my name is Kim. I am Vice President of We Believe You, and everything my wonderful friend Haley here said is true. I'd just like to ask you to please don't lead in anger. We understand you are angry, as we all are. I am angry.
I am hurt, and I am saddened by what is going on right now, and I'm sure you all are as well. But anger is not going to solve any of our problems, right? So I ask you to take that anger, take that hurt, take that sadness, and push for change. That's what We Believe You is all about. We want change. We want change just as much as you all, and I promise that is everything we are working for. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in and out of, how many meetings Haley's been in and out of, Autumn, my colleagues, my friends, meeting after meeting, because all we care about right now is that change. UBC deserves it, the students deserve it. We deserve better than this, right? Right? So I ask again, please do not lead in anger. Lead with hope. Lead with the idea that the university does want change, right? Because we do want change. And it starts now, and it starts here, and it starts with every single one of us. Everyone can make change, right? Thank you.
Great. So thank you all for speaking. So I know at least Scott, you guys have specifically asked for a resolution to be passed to support these things. I think from the Senate, of course, legislation takes a little bit of time to write, and that will have to happen for all of the demands. And as public forums are happening, town halls are happening, we would just ask that if we could potentially vote next week on that Monday, the legislation will then be provided, and we would be able to gather more information since this is still very fresh, and we need a little bit more preparation time.
Can I make a recommendation?
Sure, go ahead.
If people from staff could work with Lily, or any other organization that would like to see a resolution from the Senate, to start co-authoring that, and just so that everyone knows legislation needs to be submitted by 5:30 on Saturday to be able to be presented next Monday.
So if you guys have any questions, then I'll definitely reach out. Who's the best contact for me to reach out to? May you have it? I think I have it.
Really?
Yeah.
Can one of you guys explain just what legislation does?
Yeah. So a Senate resolution, in part, of course, working with you guys to see what that would look like, but it can look like many things, as if we could pass each of them as a resolution and put it to a vote, or come up with a collective statement of support that could then be put to the body. It can do many things depending on what it says, but a resolution is like a kind of like a word of support from the Senate backed by a vote.
And in a broader sense, explaining how the governance of UMBC works, there are 5 senates: Faculty Senate, Professional Staff Senate, Non-Exempt Staff Senate, the Graduate Student Association Senate, and this Undergraduate Student Senate. The resolutions that get passed by the different senates are taken very seriously and then shared with the other senates. So from a university governance standpoint, this resolution or resolutions that would get passed would go a long way with the university steering committee. John, sorry.
Sorry, who's left?
What are the meeting times for the other senates?
I can provide them for you.
Some of them don't meet as often as we do, so. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sure. And anybody can attend Senate meetings if they would like to.
I know our meetings are open to the public, and I believe
they technically should all adhere to open public meeting laws, but if you want to have a forum, it would be having a conversation with the chair of those senates. And again, I can connect, if I can get a few people to shoot me an email, and I can work to connect you with the chairs of the senates.
Great. Okay, so with that, I'm going to end this public forum with the intention that I will be reaching out to all of you to draft up a plan, basically, and have more conversations this week with senators as well, and you guys are welcome to be involved in those. And by Monday, we'll put something to a vote. Okay? Yeah, of course. Yes.
Can you have your contact us from the meeting so that they can get in contact with you guys as well? Sure. Can you like help with this?
Yeah, I did it. No, it's just. You might want to be in contact with them as well. I've been in contact with college. Yeah.
So I think everything from Legal Aid. We also have working, and we'll begin circulating this as well as we believe you has been has in connection to with the Women's Center and other resources. We have a resources list, and we are included on it. A couple other resources on UBC campus as well. But then the resources list includes Baltimore City, Baltimore County, international hotlines, legal services, and with anonymous hotlines, stuff like that. It's about like an 8 to 10 page document. So that is accessible to anyone. You can send that out and pass it around as you please. But our contacts are also on there. And if you, the clearest way maybe to get in contact with us is through Legal Aid on Facebook. Or we can give out some emails and we can forward you our information. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure.
Great. Okay. So with that, I guess that is the end of the public forum. Feel free to stay for the Senate meeting, but we do have some confirmations tonight and some other legislation to be passing. So you don't have to leave, but we do have to move on. All right, cool. So,
thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, maybe I'll find these here.
Thank you.
See you on Thursday,
Daniel.
I'll go home.
We'll miss you.
I'm not here for like 8 hours.
So, 1 more hour won't hurt.
You guys aren't getting any confirmation.
Great.
Wow. God, 10 degrees cooler.
Great. Hey. Okay. Did everybody go through the minutes? Okay. I know it feels really weird to just like move on from that, but I promise there will be more conversations. Primarily, there will be some work that you guys need to do outside, like reading the articles and reading the reports, the case, and stuff like that. But there will be individual conversations as well as group ones as something to vote. But I'll be sending out resources for you guys to read through. Please read through them on your times. A week is a really short deadline, so I need to express myself. Great.
I don't normally come to these meetings. I'm glad I did. I really wanted to be here just to see how they went. And I think that it's credit to you as an organization, that you make time for the forum in such a time-sensitive issue, but also that you already had a process set up where you could actually have that feedback. I think that's all people want, and we heard it. People just want to be heard, right? And so I think I heard that today at lunchtime, that people just want to get out and talk, and so I think this was a great opportunity. I think this is the beginning of multiple opportunities. I know that people in this room are also pretty angry about what happened, so I'm really appreciative of the fact that you're giving headspace to it, giving your heart some time for it, and also just thinking about it as taking some time and looking about all the angles. It is a really kind of multi-faceted issue. So, having said that, I'm going to go, but I really appreciate you doing the work you did felt this weekend and what you do in the
Thank you very much.
Okay. Great. Can I just get a pulse of the room, with the thumb up inside, thumb down, just general. What's up? Yeah, go. Can you be back in 3 minutes?
I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Great. Even for now.
All right, timer started. Ready and go.
Anyway, for the rest of you, thumb up. How's everybody doing after that? Oh, we don't have enough time to go through everybody? I'm sure. Okay. Thank you. All right, so remember how we talked about office hours last week? Well, we have to write that in procedure rules. So, yeah, it'd be like that. So, what?
We're voting on it?
Yeah, of course. Come on, why wouldn't we?
He's like, so I get to vote.
Are you saying?
Senate legislation 01. Yes.
Can we approve the minutes?
I asked if we approve the minutes.
No, we did not. We were going to wait until after.
Oh, okay. Do we approve the minutes? Unanimous? Yes?
General consent.
Does anybody have any issues?
Should I put down?
No, it's pretty good.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
It's fine. Hi. Feel free to sit wherever. Okay.
Were the times changed as well?
Candace did all that. And she's a champ. We're so appreciative. Okay, so yeah. This is like super simple. I'm really having a time today, guys. It's fine. So procedural rules. I just had to make a small addition. So in black, we did this. Oh, let me do that. Let me do that. Is that better? No. There you go. So in black is the previous, and in red is the addition. So it's literally just adding a line that says senators must attend weekly office hours, which is something we talked about last week. Since nobody had given me like outward problems or reached out to me within the week, I moved forward with that station. So the required number of office hours is at the discretion of the speaker. So each year it'll change. But as of right now, that gives flexibility to future speakers. And yeah, let's talk. How we doing? I think that's where your power as senators come in, to talk to the speaker and have power over them.
I would think create our own joint.
Like if I said you need to work 12 hours, Jared, and you were like, no, you could get it with all the others and be like, that's not cool. And
Yeah, 11.5 only.
Yes, hi.
Office hours, can they be virtual?
It doesn't apply to you, that's the good news. It's just Senate.
Then we're just Senate.
Yeah,
You report to me.
Not yet.
Not
yet. And actually, can you just quickly introduce yourself so we all know your name?
Hi, I'm Katrina Kelly, and I'm to be possibly confirmed this all the Director of Communications. And I actually do. I have a meeting at 7 in the city.
You should be fine. You should be fine. Yeah. You should be fine. Okay. So how's everybody feeling? Is this okay? Everybody okay with the language? You guys are only mandated 1 hour, that's it, a week.
We're only mandated 1 hour a week. Should we put that in the legislation as well, or should we just leave it as must attend weekly office hours?
Well, it says that the required number of office hours is at the discretion of the speaker. So that somebody that comes after me is more than welcome to make that decision. So. How we
Did
doing?
you use the wheel?
I totally agree with that.
Does anybody else think we should have a maximum?
I think we should go maximum.
Is there a motion?
Well, open.
So wait.
Colin,
Can I, sorry, some policy stuff. So legislation is being introduced. And this is actually true with Senate confirmations as well when people come in. You are able to amend current legislation. And the way you say it is, I move to amend SL 01-1819, then you need a second. And then you can discuss about what the amendment is. Then you put it in and you do the same thing over again. So if you add a line in, someone has to say what they want that line to be. Then there needs to be a second again. And then there has to be a vote on it. And then it gets added in. And then when you're all done, you go back to vote on SL 01-1819.
Remind me to make a cheat sheet.
You got one in your binder.
Oh. So we can have that conversation if you want.
Right there.
If you're like
Oh no, but
actually
he's
serious
one.
about it.
I know the stuff.
That's up to you guys to do. All right, so do the thing. Go ahead.
Alright, what's the name of it?
SL 01-.
I move to amend SL 01-1819.
Second.
No objection.
And I think that we should have a maximum number of hours as one of the stipulations of the amendment. Preferably 2.
Point of clarification, that'd be maximum 2 hours per week.
Yes.
I feel like office hours are very like circumstantial, like depending on like the climate of the Senate. So like 2 hours, like there's very little room for like shifting. So it's like, so how much time would you be doing? Like an hour or 2 hours maximum?
Yeah, I think for me, I wrote it as this just so to give you guys background, just to not limit any future Senates, because once we vote on this, it does stay there. And they would then have to move to change it, and they would have to write new legislation to change it. I do think there's like the general understanding that you wouldn't do that to senators, and that somebody would probably step in if somebody was trying to make people work extreme amount of hours, but it's not one person, so.
Well, so the reason I'm suggesting is because you can, it doesn't necessarily limit you to 2, but it says the maximum you're mandatory to serve is 2, if that makes sense. So that way you could go over it, but it also puts a check on how much the speaker can set as like a cap, you know.
Like a speaker, like a speaker could request that you do 3 hours, like pick up an extra hour this week if there's like something big going on, they want presence in the office. But it also can't require the speaker to force more time.
That's not the goal of office hours. To be like involved in the office is like if there's something happening, that'd be more of an intentional, like we're looking for people to volunteer to be here at this time, Office hours are solely for meeting times, being present in the office so that people see you. I just don't want the 2 things to get confused, if that makes sense. So like if election night extravaganza was happening, and like your office hour was on Friday at like 3 p.m., I wouldn't go, hey, can you just work like 2 more hours with your office hours to help with that? That'd be like it would be a completely separate ask. Does that make sense? Your office hours have nothing to do with like programming.
Right, so how would that relate to this?
I was misunderstanding.
As Liam said, I was clarifying Liam's point.
Okay.
Yeah. So what do other senators think? Jordan?
So why is that the discretion of the speaker and not like the Senate body?
I have just put it that way since the speaker is the one that has to keep track of the hours and be giving that as submitting it to SRC as like people are attending them. It's the person that manages them. So that number could be like decided on and like approved by the Senate. But I only wrote it that way because the speaker ultimately is the person that has to how do I say, like manage, like they're in charge of them.
I think for me, I understand like, yeah, you need to keep track of the hours, but that to me, I feel like it doesn't mean that the speaker mandates the hours. Yeah.
A second.
We do need to get started with confirmations in 4 minutes.
So maybe we can, instead of amending to have a maximum of 2 office hours per week, we could change it to be that the required number of office hours is recommended by the speaker and then agreed upon by the Senate, something along those lines.
And that could be a formal vote.
You could do that.
Maybe unanimous.
Yeah, I mean it's just like when you pick people for SRC or the nominating committee.
Okay.
Yeah, we will next.
Yeah, so not formal vote, but like agreed
Okay.
on things.
So the required number of office hours is didn't one of you guys have to move to
Yeah, move to amend.
So, but this time you need to say specifically what language you want to add to it.
Alright, let's see how we go. Recommended by the speaker.
Maybe write it down before you speak it out into a
No, sorry, I'm like trying to bounce ideas off real quick. So.
While you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to pass this out. Let me go this way first. There you go. This is just the I like they want to print like 40 pieces.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So like people are sharing.
Yeah,
we're trying to save the environment out here.
Yeah,
Colin also said we didn't have 30 sheets of paper, so like, We sure don't.
So far, that the required number of officers Senate and approved by Senate.
Alright, you got it figured out?
Yeah, so
Alright.
I move to amend SL 01-1819 that the text in
Hold on.
Article 2.
Somebody got a second that.
Second.
Great.
Third.
Go ahead.
That the language in Article 2, Section 2.1 would read at the end part, instead of the required number of office hours is appointed by the Speaker, it would be the required number of office hours is recommended by the Speaker and approved by the Senate.
So we do a second. Second. Oh, second.
So, that would be voting.
It's such a repetitive process. I know. All right. So as that reads now, is everybody okay with that? Okay. All right. I'm not hearing any no's.
So I move to approve SL 01-1819 as amended.
Yes. Colin's so excited.
That's exactly it.
All right. Great job. All right.
Is there a government? Has you gonna vote?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Colin's pushing me.
Please are always pushing me.
Motion to vote.
Oh, I actually have to. I have to reprint this out. I'll say your score.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank you.
Motion to welcome Patrick back.
Mary.
And Kai.
Second.
And Kai.
All right. I do that. So any senators against? No. Great. Not present.
One.
Yeah. And with that, we did it. That passed. All right. Great. So I need Mary to get back, but if you guys can look over, bless you. So we are about to get started into Katrina's confirmation. While we're waiting for Mary, if everybody can just read over what was the last time briefly over her answers in the stapled sheet I gave you. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And the minute Mary gets back, we're starting.
Welcome back. We're getting started.
All right, great. So, with that, okay, work from me. Hi, Katrina. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Are you fine with me?
Yay.
Okay, great. Katrina, if you just want to introduce yourself, tell us your name, who you are, all about you, and why you're here.
So I am Katrina Kelly. I'm a senior. I'm in the Environmental Studies GIS program here at UMBC, and I've applied to the Director of Communications, Director of the Department of Communications for the SGA. And my reason for applying to that is because I'm interested in this process, this legislative process, but also communications in general are the core of pretty much everything, and getting communications and messaging right. It's a skill, it's an art, and it's also kind of it's an essential. It's something essential for everything we do, and communication is important to me in general, just as a person. I do have a background training in marketing, a little bit of advertising for my own small businesses that I've had. I've worked with the Antonio Hayes campaign for Senate, State Senate, and I was an amateur writer, and business communications. I think I could bring something interesting to the process, and I find this really amazing. So I'm so impressed by it. So it's great. So that's. Any other questions? So.
Colin, do you want to give a general overview of the executive branch?
Yes, I do. Sorry. So.
What a man. What a man.
So this year, the way that we have structured the executive branch, I think in the past, there have been units, departments, whatever you want to call them. And that is a great org structure when you have or are ready to have 50 people on payroll or, 40, and we're not there. We want to make sure that the people that we have are really engaged and they're working hard. But we just want to be smart about what that structure looks like to reflect where our organization is now. So as a point of reference, we interviewed 40-ish people for different positions, and we're putting forth, I think, 18 or something like that. So we had a really thorough interview process. We had an application that was sent out. We did one-on-one interviews. By one-on-one, I mean Brenda and I was with the other version, so 2-on-1. 2-on-1 interviews, and then we had a group interview day, and then after that, that's how we made our decisions who was we were going to put forward. But going back to the structure, we have an executive council that will consist of 7 members that just have the title of executive council member, and they will be tasked with coming up with different initiatives. So working with eco organizations, health and wellness stuff, kind of the run-of-the-mill stuff that we have heard from SGA in the past with departments, but having tangible initiatives instead of having loosey-goosey titles that don't really mean a whole lot. So that's the executive council, and then we have 2 departments. One of them is communications, which is what Katrina's going for, and then we have another department for special projects and flagship initiatives. So these are the more thoughtful things that SGA has been working on. Thoughtful is not the right word. I think like more intricate. So like Prove It and election extravaganza. Does that answer everything? I think?
Yeah,
does anyone have any questions? So, and on top of the people that are on the executive council, Katrina will also sit on the executive council. The director for special products does as well. And we have an administrator that will also sit on the executive council, and our administrator is the one that's kind of taking care of day-to-day office responsibilities and helping out with just a whole slew of random stuff. So.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Tom? No? Okay, so Katrina, thank you for introducing yourself. I'm going to open up the floor for questions to Katrina. Anything that you guys might want her to elaborate on more, or any questions you have? Mary?
You mentioned that you feel as though you'd be able to contribute to, I guess, SGA. How do you feel to do that? In what aspects?
A couple of different things. Again, there's a part of me that's not clear exactly about what the initiatives are, so part of me would respond to those initiatives. But my experience is in working with messaging. It's just a natural kind of bent that I have. Some of the things that have come to me, even as we were just talking about the position, I've been thinking about what I could contribute. I like the idea of unified communications. In other words, making use of all the channels of communication, and I don't know how much that's been done. But it's integrating communications, like, are you making the best use of UNBC radio? Are you making use of the newspaper? Are you making use of all the social media outlets that you can make use of? Are you using sort of like guerrilla tactics to communicate with people in unusual ways that are actually really impactful? That are kind of like a little bit outside the the coloring lines, but again, the point of communications is to impact, to make that message heard, understood, received, and then responded to. So, but immediately I've thought about these different ways that I've pinged different aspects of my own advertising for my own purposes, depending on what they might be, and I respond to the moment. So I guess that's what I bring to it, a sense of spontaneity and listening and responding in the moment, as opposed to sort of taking a dry, template approach to communication, because it is always different and it does have to be adapted to your audience and to your purpose and to what you're ultimately trying to say.
What other time commitments do you have? Because the director of communications is a fairly important job that does require these kind of times. So we're just wondering what else you have.
I do have a lot. I am busy. I am busy, and I did indicate that. So I am a full-time student here, and I also work part-time in the evenings and weekends, about 29, 30 hours. And I'm also, which is where I'm heading off now, I'm also a part of a Buddhist organization, and I am a district leader for the women's division for that. So my commitment is, for that tends to be about 5 to 6 hours a month. It's really coordinating the meetings, overseeing what's happening. And if there are members of Buddhist groups that need counseling or want to talk, then I'll make appointments based on that. But it's not a job so much as it is, again, kind of like an appointment like this.
So how do you seem to fit SGA, your SGA position into your schedule?
I will have to know what's expected. Once I know what's expected, I simply make time for it. Mm-hmm. I know that sounds like a really vague answer, but it really is literally, I spent Saturday with a huge calendar plugging things in. Thank you for your calendar. Colin's calendar is insane. But it's wonderful. But really, the way I move is I decide what is a priority and prioritize.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions.
All right. So if there aren't any more questions, Roger, do you have
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're just saying you don't know. Okay, great. Want to move into any discussion points or any? Does anybody have any points they want to bring up? Brandon?
Can I ask Colin a question?
Sure.
What specifically made Katrina seem attractive as a director?
She followed through on all of our communication quickly, which was really attractive for this position in particular. And I don't know if you know me, but I have a certain tenacity about a lot of emails. What was all the size for? I think during her interview, I felt like she, I'm talking to you like you're not a British.
It's okay, you can do that. It's interesting to watch.
I felt like she just kind of had like a sixth sense that would be able to get what we would need in this position, because I could sure as hell tell you I could have needed you this weekend, and I think having someone like Katrina that has had a lot of different experiences would really help with this position and know how to work with other people and lead other people to deliver a good, strong message that needs to be able to hit a wide, diverse student population.
Any other points? Mary?
As you guys may already know, one of my main initiatives personally is just working to communicate better with the student body, and I feel I really appreciate your insight as to what communication means. It's really deep.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It was very wholesome, and I think the director of communications would be essential to our goals as an SGA.
Can I expand on that just a little bit? So we value communications, and that's why every single person that will work in the Department of Communications is paid. So we have photographers, public relations people, graphic designer, and social media. So all of those folks will be paid, and all of them will report to Katrina.
Great. So, any other?
Should I say first?
Sure.
How accessible will photographer and the graphics people, how accessible will they be in terms of
if we setting an initiative, making a schedule, making a calendar, looking at the actual decision-making process, how available is it? Just a matter of this is what we're thinking, this is what we're contemplating, and we sort of communicate that way?
Yeah. So I have to wait to connect to you all until you all have been confirmed.
We haven't had that yet.
Yep. But yes, that's all right now.
So if there isn't anything else, is there a motion?
Move to approve SL 02-1819.
Seconded.
Great. All senators for? Great. Any opposed? Abstaining? And not present is 0. And with that is passes.
I am just so, I've never done anything like this.
Well, you have an oath to take now.
She does.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. We take the
Who's got their binder?
Me.
Wait.
Wow. Yeah, Leo. I feel like I mostly have to memorize, but that's when I would take it. Like, does that make sense? Alright, so if you want to come sit over here. Oh man, where do you go? Right here. Great. Yep. Face me. Alright. Sorry.
Yes.
Is everybody engaged?
I'll take a picture.
Alright, so you can raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly affirm. That I will faithfully execute. The office of
Director of Department of Communications.
Sounds so fun.
It does.
Of the UNBC Student Government Association.
Of the UNBC Student Government Association.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
Promote and defend.
Promote and defend.
The interests and well-being.
The interests and well-being.
Of UNBC's undergraduates.
Of UNBC's undergraduate students. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So
Yeah. Alright.
Good start.
Living our best life, guys.
Who's next?
I wasn't even gonna say it.
You know, Colin, what did you say? Remember the conversation we had earlier?
I
said 15 plus, so what time? Okay, so they were all supposed to be here around 6-ish.
Oh, I don't even remember now.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Do you have the appointment?
Yeah.
Let's
forgot
just I'll wish Scott Buchanan from the Finance Board good luck on his date tonight.
Yeah, Scott has a date.
Wow, can we not blast him on the
Whoa. My man's Scott.
Oh, Colin, that makes sense. 6:30.
As he should.
Okay.
Okay.
So probably take
a break, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let everybody take a break. If everybody can be back here by 6:40.
Great. Got food now.
The live stream will stay on, so be aware of that.
Hey.
Yay! Oh,
wow.
It's too late. Okay, so everybody be back in 4 minutes. How's that? Okay. Okay. 6:40. Get back. 4. Are they 5? You can even down. Recess. 6:40.
Okay, I don't have time. I gotta do something on my own.
If you're getting food,
Yeah.
bring it back, but don't eat it during confirmation.
What? Let's go.
Let's go. Oh wait, never mind. Brenda's being.
Brenda set the example.
Yeah, I'll just follow your example. Yeah, I'll just follow your example. I promise.
Yeah.
If I had been less inundated when I first transferred it,
You too.
Thank you. Well, it would, but I thought you said
Sure.
on a number of ones.
I kind of want to eat though, but like, also,
Oh, yeah.
I want. You're making me like want to.
I see what you call, but you have to know
I think you're eating really slow. Maybe like that.
I see what you call.
That's interesting.
She sure is.
You see everyone, but you don't know because you don't know.
You don't know me. I don't want Brandon and I to go get sushi.
Brenda, how many FYAs are there?
26.
I'm not.
Recent one of them.
He's not responding to my emails though.
Wait, so have they already been like
I didn't send an emoji.
Are they like official?
Is there a Slack page for them?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not yet.
Terrible.
Well, there is.
You're the
but they're
worst
not
vice
in it.
president.
Oh, sorry, executive vice president.
She got cut of the executive part when she ate noodles during the middle of a confirmation.
I got demoted. I'm just a vice president now. Now Zane is the superior vice president.
No comment.
Are we still live?
Sure. Hi, Zane.
I'm better than you. He knows it.
Javi, is Javi your middle name?
I'm sorry I didn't get
Yeah,
to talk to you
Javi.
earlier. I saw you were trying to engage.
How you doing,
It just got really
Javi?
hectic
How
really
are
fast.
you?
Completely
We're great, but thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's no
It's
problem.
good to have you.
From SCB.
Yes, I
Uh,
is the SCP from
SGA.
I just love when I see
love that
SCB
SCB comes.
I love it when SCB
We
shows
love when
up.
SCB comes.
I'm really
Yes, we do.
glad that I came. This was very interesting.
Good.
Even this part.
This part?
Yeah. Even this.
So I am all about having public forum written into proper rules as well. As ironic as it is if you just passed that. But
I mean, do it. That way
I mean,
people
I'm not on Senate.
do it.
Anybody can pass a resolution or
Write it.
legislation.
Write it, give it to me. I'll
I
put
would
it
look
where
over
it
this
is.
copy and paste this because this could probably just go on the proc rules and everything be fun.
Well, that way, that's what people need it. It's there.
Mhm.
Like this.
Mhm.
I also have like
Are you a STEM major?
18 different
Are
probably
you computer science?
For my UBC?
Yeah, and I
Oh,
don't
I'll tell you
know.
that, but
Yeah.
I knew it.
I go from delete
I'm
them.
outside that.
What do you mean? In the tracker, can you put it as approved for me? My laptop's completely dead, otherwise I do it.
I can guess people's majors.
Thanks, friend.
This is probably.
Is it Senate track now? It's a, what is it? Legislation?
I think it's legislation tracker. I don't know who made it. I think it's you.
No, I think Carly from UNBC made it.
Carly.
Yeah,
Hi, Carly.
Okay, Senate.
I've never seen it.
What was the vote? Is it not?
It was 8,
You got a button.
0, 0, 1.
For Katrina or for proc?
Listen to that one after.
For proc.
Okay, for Katrina, what was it?
9, 0, 0.
No, it was.
Mary was in the bathroom for the. Mary was in the bathroom. Oh, for proc.
Yeah, for proc.
But we had a confirmation, so we had to just.
I don't.
Oh, shit.
Or at least you told me you didn't.
I'm gonna go with my former self.
My former self was smarter than my current.
You said it was a
Sure
confirmation.
was.
Yeah, but not.
Honestly.
I really need to call myself.
Oh, they're nice.
I'm talking to myself, sorry.
Brandon, I owe you money.
I would.
Oh, Brendan,
I think I owe you money.
What?
I owe you money.
You know who owes me money? UNBC tickets.
I
That's
just
who owes
paid
me
back
money.
on
They
payment.
refunded you.
They did not. I got an email that they
For my,
refunded
like,
me,
$650
and they knocked
meal.
on my card.
Yeah, get your money back.
Do I have,
Listen,
what is
they
that?
take money like
Do
this.
you want my money?
It takes like 5-7 days to get it back.
Is it gonna be the same thing you told me in the summer?
Oh,
If you can pay it back, you can, but if you're pressed for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's always.
I never, listen,
You're the
no,
best.
ready? Never lend anyone more money than you're willing to walk away from.
Brandon just paid for our sushi food, it wasn't that cheap.
If you're lending someone money,
No.
never, true.
Are you getting this for the minutes?
Listen, for the minute, never
It's on the live
lend
stream.
someone more money than you're willing to walk away from. Like, if you're not willing to just give it to them, don't give it to them.
So,
You know what's
you're
serious?
saying
Reimbursements.
only
Those are
lend
the
people
most
the amount of money that
annoyingest
you're willing
things
to
Like from UNBC?
ever.
No,
Just in general.
but you're
Yeah,
expecting
no, in
them to
general.
do
God.
They require something. They'll fight you for every single cent. They'll be like, "Is this receipt
Because,
photoshopped
like,
because you're going for 2 extra cents?"
You give
You
And the
know,
thing is, I have these receipts, so I hate it.
$25.
Like, I had to take pictures of them.
Like, that's
you know, you take pictures of all that junk shit, but they'll be like, "I don't know, this isn't the regular market price." I do some research and I'm like,
it's
oh, wow.
what's wrong with
Oh, stress.
I was like, hey, I can walk away from that. There are
Oh,
points in my life
private finance
right now.
Oh,
just create a site, take a small part of their budget.
it's small.
We'll call it for incidentals.
Yeah.
That's a good step.
Madam Speaker, just have your
Can you get the attention from
There's a lot happening today. Like a lot. What's up?
Are we getting a secretary soon?
Did you do miniature year?
Huh?
Did you do miniature year?
Yeah, I did.
Go bond or something.
I want to participate.
Yeah, Mom,
Well,
when are we getting a secretary?
That's what I'm saying. Are we have on the line?
Brandon,
Yeah.
I did minutes for a month and a half.
Yeah.
Back in my day when I was a youngin. That's wrong.
Worse. Yes, but there are some people that applied both. So Daniel and I have to joint interview them and then figure out. So by Monday, there should be somebody to present to the Senate as a secretary candidate.
Good job, my friend.
Oh, you missed weeks.
I'm really proud of you guys. There's even 2 minutes left. You know?
Unfortunately, you guys missed Candace's advice for the day.
Yeah,
Her
you
stinky
did.
words of
Her
wisdom.
rule of thumb. That is all
My rule of thumb. Okay. Never lend someone more money
I'm never going to
than you're willing to lose.
What? You're the honest
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I gave him a small goal of $1 million.
It's raining outside. Jared, it's like raining. It's like raining.
That's why I
know. That's your friends.
Free food.
Yeah, see, I think
All right,
this
one
whole
more
thing,
minute.
how much I give out randomly, you know. It's a hit or a miss.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's trash. Too much sugar.
That's
I want, you want the one to
As you should.
Don't do that.
Professional. Invading Harvard for the freaking pizza.
Hey, if the white
We have the first pizza with the president. It's going to be at Harvard, which is the entrance to be open, so everyone's getting in there. We're going to deal with how to react to it, being alongside and stop it.
the picture in white without around here.
Everyone else does it.
Yeah, put it away.
Yeah, that's where we have, we're the first.
Put it up here for you.
Yes.
Look at you.
So,
It's 40.
It's
40.
And then they have my
Thank you.
But,
He's got it up because he's
40.
taking notes.
They got a 40.
Jordan's about to
Look
go.
at that.
I feel like after I was like college, and then maybe like
Continue.
I don't know. I guess.
All right. I hate gabbling, so just let it bounce off the table.
We'll get you a little package for the apple pie.
Okay, so hi Hobby. We're moving into our second confirmation for the night. So you guys heard from Colin earlier. Hobby, just introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, why you're here.
All right, so my name is Javier Lozardo. I'm a new communication studies major as well as English in communications and technology, and I'm the nominee for coordinator of public relations.
Great. All right. So, first question.
What are your time commitments outside of the position?
Well, I'm currently serving as the secretary for WBC, which fortunately something doesn't take as much of my time, but that is another thing that I'm keeping in mind while I'm committing to this position as well. But I could easily contribute 5 hours probably weekly.
Just going off that point real quick, are you getting involved with the Erickson Community Council as well?
So I recently, I was running for Erickson Community Council, and unfortunately I didn't get the position, but I did express my interest in filling a position that had not been taken over in the election process. So if that does happen, I will be also committing to that, but I don't think it should affect my performance in this position.
Why are you interested in public relations?
So I'm a media communication studies major, as I said before, and something that really interests me is the way in which people communicate with each other. And something that I really, really do not like is lack of transparency. And I feel like when you're not transparent with the people that you are trying to build a relationship with, it only builds more distrust. So I hope that by having this position, I can build a level of trust within the campus body and increase engagement with this community.
Okay, thanks. So how would you say, in terms of transparency, that she has been in the past?
Well, you see, the thing is, I actually was not too involved with SGA in the past, so I cannot speak on that. But I can easily bring in my own values and what I believe to be as transparency. So that means owning up to anything that I feel is wrong and immediately expressing addressing whatever doubts the campus may have regarding our organization.
So you mentioned in your goals for the position that you would like to raise awareness about initiatives that SGA are taking. What ways do you propose to, or what ideas do you have about raising awareness, like tangible ideas that you feel you bring to this position?
So I see that in the position, like the description of the position, there are certain actions that are aligned, such as publishing to the retriever, updating the My UBC page for SGA, and I also believe just maintaining contact with external organizations as well. But something that I actually did last year with RSA was I created videos based on what we were doing, what events were coming up, and I was also introducing our executive board to the campus. So my own idea would be to perhaps start my own. I realize there is a videography position as well, but I would hope to perhaps collaborate and create videos so that people are more aware of what it is that exactly that we do and what we can provide for them.
Discussion points or motion?
Can we see the legislation before we vote on it?
Okay, that must be great.
Move to approve and sign legislation 03-1819.
Do you have any discussion points?
Didn't sound like anybody did.
Oh, okay.
If anyone does, they can object now, then we can go on to discussion, but if not, then.
It was already seconded before though.
I'll withdraw.
What is happening?
What's going on?
No, Robert's.
You quit
You
on
can-
Saturday.
You can object
Yeah.
until.
Okay, so I did ask if there were discussion points. Did somebody have one that they were not able to voice?
Yeah, sorry. I'll withdraw.
Well, no, because I did ask for discussion points or a motion, so if nobody had a discussion point, it was fine. All right, so nobody had one. Great. All right, cool.
Just do it by motion.
Second.
What a time to be alive. All right, number of senators for. Great. Opposed, abstaining, not present, 0. And with that, this motion passes. So you want to come over here?
Cool.
Okay, so you can raise your right hand. All right. Ernesto, are you taking photos? I am. Great. All right, repeat after me. I state your name.
I hope you
Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of Coordinator of Public Relations
the office of Coordinator of Public Relations
of the UMBC Student Government Association
of the UMC Student Government Association
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
promote and defend
defend
the interests and well-being
the interests and well-being
of UMBC undergraduate students.
of the UMC undergraduate students.
Congrats. That's some loud clapping. You guys are good at that.
Now that's all.
Yes, Kai.
Okay.
All right. And you're more than welcome to stay, but
Okay.
go to if you want. I think Candace has to talk.
Okay.
You guys are allowed to respectfully leave during this time. Sorry, we didn't hear it before. So Brenda's been doing it entirely. What is this? Like slurping your noodles while
It's the slurp thing. Your plate explodes and rice flies everywhere. You know, I need to hear more vocals.
Pastor, can confirm, does your slurp his noodles?
Can either confirm or not.
Keep clear, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he's serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for disappointing.
I taught you all the wrong science.
Congratulations.
It's not the Raisin Bran. Who said Raisin Bran was their favorite cereal?
You're right. Guys, we were betrayed. This is cereal.
Alright, so while we're waiting on Tess, metal?
That's so metal.
I mean, no, because it's not.
So that's what we call it up there.
Football.
Next week.
Can I throw it in the announcement section?
You can throw it in the announcement section with no vote.
So theoretically, our conversation is supposed to take slightly longer. They I think the time test is given what's
That's what your announcement section.
we at least on Lewis County, the conversations are on 30-minute blocks. So we have 30 minutes to like block and discuss. Each one usually takes just under. Yes. You have to abstain. You're good in the car. I've seen her work. And you know her abstain.
What are you talking
Do the right thing. Nobody.
Alright.
We have 2 more watching right now. It's one of them.
I think both of them might be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm logged in, so it should be me. I don't think I count as a watcher. Carly,
Oh,
please tell us.
How many watches you got?
Okay. 2.
Hi.
We got 34 views on our last meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I watched it 7 times.
Alright, while we're waiting for Tess, everybody go around the room and tell me your favorite.
My favorite. That is my favorite.
Your favorite Halloween candy.
Ooh.
Great.
It's coming.
Is it?
That's what home.
Are you gonna buy it?
I threw candy.
Yo, it's so early. Do you want to help
Guys,
me?
Jared's about to drop some knowledge on us.
Yeah, what kind of candy does Juice like?
I'm gonna take notes.
So, I'm gonna say York peppermint patty.
Wait, why are we all excessively poor, Jared?
I support you. We're not like you. I support you.
Alright, we're moving on. Next person. Cool. No. Another terrible opinion.
You're getting.
Okay. We're waiting on somebody, so we have to go through. Miriam?
Probably Reese's Buttercups.
Peanut butter?
Peanut butter cups. Or
That's good.
what is it called? The honey or like the grand? It's like
Oh, yeah.
100 grand? 100 grand?
100 grand. Oh, 100 grand.
Wow, Matt, somebody with taste. Alright. Kai?
My
Don't let me
favorite
down.
is freezing those espresso flavored M&Ms. They're crunchy ones.
They have espresso flavored M&Ms.
Espresso.
Why
am I not
Right.
I don't know if I can make that happen for you, but we'll try.
When you get them little, like the sour punch twist straws off.
No. Yeah, those are good.
Like small, Well, I've been not trick-or-treating in like 5 years, so it's the only candy I remember.
Every day.
Well, I don't remember your
In Maryland, do stores give out candy?
Got it.
No.
No? Like in New York, like that's trick or treating. You don't go to people's houses. You go to like stores. Like yeah.
We do that. Actually, no. It's South.
You
know what else? Like last year.
Alright, what is your favorite candy?
I was going to say Sour Patch Kids, but I'm going to support Jared and say York.
Oh.
That is
I just thought about like
Brandon?
Brandon,
Brandon, what's yours?
Huh?
Huh?
I like dark chocolate.
That's
No.
Excuse
Here's my chest cancer.
Zero sugar.
Dark chocolate's good.
I get a second dark chocolate.
And it's good for you.
Dark chocolate is good.
Alright, Reese, what's up?
I like Twizzlers, but especially the Halloween ones that are like there's like the two mini ones are
I knew there was something off with him.
Twizzlers, I don't eat maybe twice in my life. Never again.
That's like for a demonic.
Alright.
You just
Y'all.
Twizzlers?
Yeah, I don't like Twizzlers.
Oh, okay.
I like Twix.
Twix? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Left Twix or right Twix?
I just shot them.
I don't have a preference.
What is Twix?
Whoa!
What is? You know what Twizzlers are.
What about?
And it says manufactured.
Oh, no.
Animals. You're a monster. Wait, no, from the double one.
I know.
Not the individual.
You like the fair?
I haven't had them since
You're right.
Those are good. Hi. Okay, Patrick. This is important business.
I would have to say either like you ever had like the little Mr. Goodberries?
Yeah, those are
I
great.
like those because when I was like you like a little handful. But I also really like I don't know if you guys have ever had like the Snickers, but like the really small ones.
What?
Like
that changes the taste of that.
And then like the little square ones. Oh,
So Snickers.
No. I don't like Snickers. Yeah,
The bite-sized one.
Yeah, it's the bite-sized one.
Is that like an Ocean City thing or something?
The whole bar, you get discouraged eating most of it. So like it's a bite size.
Yeah.
There's less guilt, so it tastes better.
Yeah, so you can eat 40 to 5. So I was
I'm like scared to say my answer. I just feel really.
Okay, whatever Kian
Hey.
says.
I like almond joy.
I second that.
I was trying to defend you, and you screamed it out.
Oh my gosh.
What's it
Loud and proud.
Colin?
She said.
So I was going to say Snickers, and Patrick Reed said it. So now I'm going to say Kit Kats.
Oh, okay.
Sure.
The white chocolate or this like the white one?
What about the orange ones? You ever had
Oh,
green
those
tea
ones
ones.
are so good.
No, like
Those are so good.
Who
said that?
Oh, shit, they're a pop tart. Oh my
We'll
god.
do that next time.
Okay.
I got you.
Oh no.
When I eat Kit Kat bars,
Wait,
Because-
let's listen to Colin.
You better not.
so when I'm so OCD because of how I eat Kit Kat bars, not only do I, break them, but then I will break off the
Layer
layers
by
of
layer.
chocolate,
No.
so it gets the
The
different
wafer.
wafers.
The
Oh
wafer.
no.
Oh,
You were safe. It was a wash. You were safe, and then you killed it.
Brenda?
Okay, so first I want to say, Reese said what is Twix, so he's not an FYA anymore. I apologize for
allergies.
sorry about it.
You can stay with us. It's okay. Don't worry about her. It's okay.
Yeah, Twix. I'm very emotional about
Twix?
Twix. It's really important to
Yes.
me.
Thank you.
The left or the right?
I can't choose. It's like picking between your parents. Like they're different, but you love them both.
We can all pick.
Candace?
Halloween candy?
Yeah, you offered up this question.
Yeah, I did.
There's no gummies
Say
yet.
like popcorn balls or something? I'm
No,
like,
that's so old
body.
lady. Oh my
Like
god.
that.
I really like Reese's peanut butter cups. And if I can get like any kind of full size candy, I'm like yes, thank you. Can I mow your lawn? Like
Right.
I was always I'm like, oh, we have the rich people have. The rich people have it.
The rich house, they look those big, big candy
Full
bars.
size candy bars.
Just showing off.
Oh yes,
Yes.
I know. Trust me. It's called trick or treating in Potomac, Maryland.
Yes.
You will get full size 90% of the time.
That's how I never had a soft.
That's what you
You're gonna push me.
They have the hookup.
No.
And then it's well, I can't say that.
All right. And mine. Last but not least.
Oh yeah, hold on.
I didn't say mine. Nobody cares. It's fine.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening.
All right. So I like when you take Kit Kats, but you have to freeze them. They're better frozen.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They're so much better frozen. They don't taste. Oh, you know how the wafer kind of tastes stale sometimes?
No.
It doesn't make the wafer taste stale.
It's good.
It makes it like this.
Yes,
Yes, it's crispy. The wafer is just better. Okay.
I've never heard noises from Kit Kat like that.
Not watch
That's kind of funny.
It's the commercials, right? It's the snap.
And then they do like the whole beatboxing like thing. Like,
Yeah, it's the peel.
But I still
snap.
do the same thing Colin does, and like if I'm feeling really like meticulous that day, I'll like separate them layer by layer. But I don't like that it melts in my
Alright, so
fingers. Hi Tess.
What's your favorite Halloween
Can
candy?
you tell us your favorite Halloween candy, please?
Oh, I actually don't.
What's your favorite? What do you eat?
What's your favorite fruit?
What's your favorite fruit? There you go.
Oh.
We love an icon. We love an icon. Alright, so, alright, if everybody can quiet down, we're gonna get into our confirmation. Hi, Tess. So if you want to just do us a favor, introduce yourself, why you're here, a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Tess. I'm a sophomore, and I'm hoping to be confirmed as the SGA director. And I work at Television. Currently, I'm also doing a couple of different things on campus. So yeah, good time.
Cool. Thank you. Alright, so Tess did also give us responses. What questions do we have for her?
So I know you joined SGA last year and were part of Luxembourg back then. What made you stay?
Being a part of the election board helped me to realize kind of the importance of SGA on campus. That was my first experience ever doing anything with student government. And although it was definitely at times stressful and frustrating, it was also really enriching and rewarding. And it was cool to, especially in the capacity that I kind of helped out, I was the marketing head for the election board. So I kind of got to handle our advertising, and I designed the election board campaign and everything. So that was really cool. And I really enjoyed that feeling of helping to be part of something bigger than myself.
Oh, yes. So I just want to go off on what Liam said. What made you join SGA in the first place?
I actually didn't go looking for a position. I was recommended to be part of the election board, and I had just come back from Strive, which kind of put me on this journey to become more involved with campus. And this was a new area that I wanted to explore because I'd never done anything like that before. So I thought that it would be a nice thing to try, and I ended up really liking it. So, yeah.
What other questions Can you talk a little bit about your time commitments and how much time you plan to devote to SGA?
Sure. So I work at Convision right now doing graphic design. I also have another on-campus job with the new Center for Civic Life that's starting up. And yeah, so those things are definitely very big parts of my time here at UBC. But I have made sure to kind of block out a period of time every day that I have free, just like a couple of hours where I can work on design, and then I also have all my classes end kind of early in the evening, so there's that too.
All right, what other questions do we have? All right, questions going once, going twice. Cool. What discussion points do we have? Y'all are dead, man.
I won.
Thank you, Jordan.
I think Tess is a very good applicant. I don't know if I can talk to you or talk about you. I don't remember.
You can talk to me.
I think just for one thing about my concern is just you are taking 5 classes and you are very involved. So I think just be careful about
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you organized that your Google Calendar schedule?
Yes.
No, God.
We went through this.
Motion to
No, stop it.
Move.
I just moving.
Move to.
Move to approve.
Say the.
SO, is that the one? SO 04-18.
Cool. Yep, you guys are good.
Yes.
Good job. Alright, so number of senators for? Keon did. Alright. Number of senators opposed? Abstaining? Not present? And with that, the motion passes. Senate. Calm down.
So excessive. I mean,
Love
that's
that.
great.
Yeah, if we can keep our claps like to a shorter thing, so I can stop screaming at our candidates, that'd be great. I agree with you. I would really like okay. Can you raise your hand for me, please?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Okay, I'm ready. During the oath, you quiet. I state your name.
I trust you.
Do solemnly affirm.
Do solemnly affirm.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of.
The office of.
Coordinator of Graphic Design.
Coordinator of Graphic Design.
Of the UMBC Student Government Association. And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
Promote and defend.
Promote and defend.
The interests and well-being.
The interests and well-being.
Of UMBC's undergraduate students.
Alright, and congrats.
Or did you just take a picture?
I took a picture.
Yes.
I took several.
Yes.
I think as I was talking and made like in order, I think I got it. Thank you.
We know it's going to do great. We now have to have their information about how she's doing in Canada.
I'm just so surprised.
You guys zooming by?
Yeah, I don't know what.
Like people that like qualified or have like too much coffee or just like things like that.
Yeah, because you have like integration.
I think the issue is that a majority of us like know her, so we know that she's going to handle it.
Alright. Huh.
I have been close contact with them.
Wow. So when's the next person?
7:30.
There's like 5 to 10 minute increments to give like buffer time. So Jasmine should be here soon. We only did it. We did it every 30.
Wow.
Well, some confirmations run over. We've seen some confirmations have been like. But this one threw off a little bit because we had to push it. So I had to email everybody and tell them to like come 15 minutes later.
So are there other agenda items?
Kind of, but it's too long to do right now.
Okay.
It's initiative brainstorming and yeah, it's on there. I didn't take it off. I thought we were. I didn't take off the agenda officially, yeah.
Okay.
Because I figured, since Colin and I had talked earlier, that was before I found out everybody only had 2 minutes. So I thought it was just going to be like this.
So is this like downtown or are we just kind of like?
Well, I was going to ask everybody their feedback on this, like, stapled sheet. Should I print it out for next week as well, or is it not helpful?
More copies out. More
Yeah,
copies
yeah,
probably,
okay.
but yeah, no, it's definitely good to kind of just go through and get an idea.
Yeah, because like.
Yeah.
Or if not, they share
we
the.
have to have a copy of this.
No, I don't
Yeah.
Or if not, they share the.
Well, I'll explain what that
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
I think it's on the agenda. I shared with all of you.
You have to learn. You're FYA. You learn. You're the future. You're the future, right?
Look at Brandon's face and did you just smile at him? Stop! You were caught.
Let me live. Everybody go to 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's been offline for a hot second. I was scared. Imagine someone watching live stream dedicated. It turns off for 3 seconds, they freak out, and then it comes back, and Brandon's face is like,
Let me live. It's all right, everybody. What's up, Brandon? Brandon Nation.
I think we're gonna take a zoom of Brandon's face. We're gonna put that on like a badge,
Stop.
and that'll be our official new Senate logo.
So we have 2 non-me viewers.
Oh.
No, the one that's approved.
That would be you in incognito mode and you in fire.
We have required SGA Senate viewing parties in residential halls.
Yeah.
We should have required viewing parties in residential halls. I have to watch Senate Meeting.
There's a lot of downtime though.
Actually, I was wondering if I could get you guys email something.
What?
That's related. But so we at Harbor Hall have the first pizza with the president event, and that'll be next Tuesday, the 25th. Yeah, so I was wondering if I could get recommendations for how to handle that, because I know that they probably won't let us only let Harbor students in there, because it's going to be at the NPR. Harbor Training Council.
Gotcha. I think it's about. Go ahead. Yeah.
Were you elected?
Yes, I was.
What is that?
Are you guys okay with us celebrating birthdays in here?
Yeah,
with food.
my birthday is
Like with
November
food, yeah.
26th. I'm turning.
Is
My
anybody in
birthday
here
is
like
February
vegan?
30th.
How old are you turning?
Is anybody vegetarian?
19?
You know what that means?
Like a baby.
Yeah, when you're turning 19.
September 26th.
How old are you? 18.
Oh wait, hi campus.
I'm gonna be sorry, your mom.
So I would say,
Yeah,
that's really going to be about like holding the space. This is my favorite photo. To be honest with you,
It's not
Can you go back?
I'll get it.
guys, we're trying to give Liam advice.
Only
Sorry about that.
I would say it's about like holding the space and really just like kind of owning it. If you feel nervous, I'd probably reach out to like your advisor, and also like I'd also lean on some like professional members maybe like in Harbor.
Yeah, I'm at Harbor, so we've got other people there. My only question is like
Sydney. Just
yeah.
Sydney.
Yeah, no, so that's
That's
what
my
I'm
pride
worried
and my
about.
sunshine.
I'm more looking at like just the options for like how we're gonna let people in. Like, are we going to?
I would ask Kyle. That's a res life thing, not really a. Yeah. We can't decide that for you.
Well, no, I'm not saying. I'm just trying to gather our because I know that we're gonna be overflow with people regardless.
Yeah.
So like, do you recommend that that's something we should like maybe enforce on, or should we just honestly let whoever in?
I would say let Kyle know that like Pizza with President has been posted like in a group, and give him like your information of how you saw this group get really big, and he'll probably have to check with potentially essential staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope that they are anticipating that.
He'd probably have to check with essential staff.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they're anticipating given
Oh, I'm sure they are.
recent events, but since it's the NPR and Anglican Walton versus like other places where it's like basements of first-year dorms where you can't really get in there.
Yeah, no, the NPR is much more sensitive.
Yeah, since we got that, that's the only thing that
What's that if you are?
the Harbor multi-purpose room.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, but like, because every other place like Pizza Present's like it's in the basement section, so you have to get past the first layer desk and go downstairs for all the first-year dorms.
Oh yeah, you can't do that really.
Yeah.
Maybe fund the cardio party program. Maybe if we're gonna do a cardio party program.
Ooh, actually, yes. Yeah. Because we haven't. I'm trying to do a lot of programs this year.
I hope my email helped to make you do it. Because that.
When's your good session?
I got my sister got VP, so
Do you want
still running Harbor.
I like that. Oh yeah.
Okay. Brandon?
Not
We're making browns.
Right now? Today?
Yeah, literally right now.
Right this second. The time to rest.
I think I have everybody's birthday, but if not,
Who's next?
I'm on duty this weekend. Maybe Kiko? She was here?
Yeah.
Oh wait, who was the Jasmine that was here?
Shout out to the fact that we
Yeah.
Shout out to the fact that what? What?
What?
Okay.
I don't remember why, but I did.
We have time for SGC stuff? Or
No,
wait
it's not on
till
the
the end?
agenda.
Yeah. Who has SGCFPs? Please raise your hand. Oh, shit. Keon, you went first.
Okay, so I'm a part of the Special Sessions Policy Committee, and I had no idea what that was, and then I show up, and I was like, oh, yo, this, okay, wow. So it's pretty much like the committee of like different professors, and then there was like some other like administrators that deal with creating the winter and summer course catalog, and they showed me like the budgets of all the departments, and which departments are getting like like how much their budgets have changed compared to last year. We also went through every single class that they plan on offering every winter, and then we're meeting again December 19th to see if like enrollment numbers are looking good, and if not, then they're gonna take those classes off the catalog. But it was really interesting, like seeing like the math department has so much money compared to like some other STEM departments, and like I just wasn't expecting that. So yeah, the food was pretty good too. But the best. Yeah, if you guys want to know like more numbers, like I can explain that more. But there's an increase in students that are taking like winter and summer classes, and also like, generally speaking, they're increasing like different classes and like different levels in each department. Like that number is going up because of students being interested. Also, they created like a math 155B for like biology BAs that are switching to BSs, and they're offering that class in winter for students to like have like a bridge course, which is like really interesting. So yeah, if you want to know more information, hit me up. Sure.
Yeah, I'm interested actually. So for like the you see like a trend in like maybe like some different departments, like were they like the bigger departments that had more money, or was it kind of like, so like math was, were like the STEM departments more funded, or do you think that the non-STEM departments were?
Well, definitely STEM is more funded. They also have more like in-person classes for STEM. They have a lot of online classes for like econ. I have all the papers in my apartment, so I can bring that to the next Senate meeting. We can look at that closely.
And can you just take a picture of your notes and send it to me or Brandon?
Yeah, it's kind of ugly. I don't know if you
It's okay.
read it, but
Just for like future people. Hey David, how are you? You don't have to sit back. You can sit at the table or back there. It's up to you.
Take a seat. Yeah.
No, we just had a lot of
right there. We don't want
Oh yeah, the details for the town hall are out. What? The details for the town hall on Thursday have been released and sent out to all the students.
Over email?
Yes. So that'll be 3:30 to 5:30 finance recital hall. And if you can't be there, there's a form to submit your questions.
Can you re-announce it too whenever we get to announcements too? So I will write it down. Thank you.
Listening session.
Hey David, what's your favorite Halloween candy, man? Tell us all about you.
Oh, okay.
Solid.
Wait, what? You know, there's some like generally like okay. Those are
Hey, you remember that honor college?
Yeah, how's it turned out? Did it rain?
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot.
NPR.
NPR.
Yeah.
I was trying to go to that, but then I went to like this was what? Why? If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
What's the tree you want to be?
Yeah, Jess is mine is 7:30. And so she probably should be there somewhere. Should I just? I have to change the
Because it's in order for me to introduce
That's all I'm saying. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
A tree?
Yeah.
Wait. Can I sit on the spot? Advisory committee?
Would you like?
Brandon,
No.
that's a you question.
What's the question? Do we sit on the student athlete advisory committee?
We sit on the athletics policy committee.
Okay.
I have been, I think Gary.
SAC? You mean?
Yeah, SAC is student athletes.
Student athletes only.
there is an interest to have a SGA liaison.
Because they are helping with that.
That's a great question.
Yeah, I remember Harrison talking about that. So
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
They have like a Matilda.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or it's like.
All right, friends. So since things got pushed, I think we're gonna have to switch around a little bit. So David is here. So we're gonna get started with this confirmation. If all electronics can be put away, I think everybody's good. Yeah, cool. Hi, David. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, name, why you're here?
I'm David. I'm an executive council member nominee. I'm a physics major, second year student. I live in Everton.
All right. What questions?
So you mentioned for your time commitments outside of SGA that you do research, but you also just mentioned that you'd be willing to do the 5 hours, but there are some situations where more might be required, less might be required. So what else do you do, class schedule-wise, other extracurriculars that you do that might take up time, and where does SGA stand on that list of priorities?
You can check my Google Calendar. I moved everything to the main one on my schedule. And I guess research does stand first, but that is flexible, and so is executive council, as I've been told. So those I can change the hours both for, depending on whether I need to spend more hours or less hours during the week for this position.
Yeah, how do you feel like Strive has impacted you?
I guess it's made me be able to talk to people, easier to connect with people. That's the main thing we did. Talk to each other in a closed room for 5 days.
That's what I'm paying.
Tell David Hoffman that. See what he says. You chuckle. All right, what other questions? Liam, go ahead.
What do you think that a member of the executive council does?
I think they meet with faculty when needed to talk about the initiatives they want to do, and then their other free time they work with other students that are willing to help them with their goal, and just talk to the general UMBC populace, whether it be through office hours or just wherever you are, even if you're not currently like there as the SGA representative. You can always talk to people who know about SGA and just get to know the students better that go through.
Okay.
Why would you like to be considered for this position?
I guess the main reason is just to be in a position where I can be involved. And since I was on election board last semester, that was kind of like a stepping stone, I guess. And now this position is, I guess, just like another way for me to be involved. That to read it.
So I know you worked on an election board before, correct? So to you, like, what is SGA to the student body? Or what is SGA to you, either one?
SGA is an organization where anyone can join, whether they want to better themselves through connecting with people, helping other people, or whether their main goal is to just join the main organization that pushes through change. So, you read the question.
And so what is the SGA to like the student body?
I want SGA to be to the student body as like an inclusive organization where anyone can join, where they're not afraid to talk to members of SGA. And to get to there, one of my main goals is just to talk to more students who aren't as committed to what SGA does.
Any other questions? So any discussion points?
Just a quick question. You have to change from 06 to 05 or 2010?
No, working as college introduce on the agenda, not whenever it has to be passed.
Hey.
Yep. Good question. Any senators or people we haven't heard from have comments? No? Good.
How do you feel like you benefit from this position?
It'll give me more experience working with faculty since I'm supposed to meet with the initiatives and then also just connecting to more students. So I'll be able to know what more students think, the various opinions that different people have, not just the people I've always been around.
All right, any other discussion points? Somebody that has a motion, give it a shot.
Motion to approve, move to approve SO 6/1819.
Seconded.
Great. That was so quick. All right, all senators for? Great. Any opposed? Abstaining is 0, not present 0. And so with that, this motion passes. We're gonna give you like 2 seconds. We're gonna do like a concert clap.
The guy who's only one clap.
Yeah.
Whenever he's like reading names
No,
off.
I'm doing the what's his face clap.
We have the what's his face.
What's his name?
Yeah, you have to say it. All right, so you can raise your right hand.
Oh, Shiloh.
Yes, sorry, I'm ready. Okay, I state your name.
I, David,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of member of the Executive Council
the office of member of Executive Council
of the UMBC Student Government Association
of the UBC Student Government Association
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
promote and defend
promote and defend
the interests and well-being
the interests and well-being
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
of UBC's undergraduate students.
Thank you.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Why?
I'm waiting for everyone. Do you know?
I'm
just on the street because I'm there incredibly pretty.
All right, friends.
I love you pretty.
Oh man. I promise I'll wake up tomorrow and check it.
Dude, I told you tomorrow night.
Sure, I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll come up with 8. So.
Thank you, Sarah.
But in Arabic, so probably
All right, so my thought is Jasmine probably doesn't think she should be here till like 7:45.
She is not.
Okay. So I think if everybody's okay with it, can we get started on like talking about the initiatives and like brainstorming it on the board, and then we just have a hard stop whenever she comes in and start a confirmation?
Yeah. No.
Seconded.
What do you say? Amen. Great.
Yeah, we have a separation of churches.
so loud.
I'm a vision. Can I have a ask and fill me in? All right, did everybody bring their sheet from last time? No? I told everybody to.
I knew I was forgetting something.
Okay, so the way this activity is going to work is, so we're going to go around the room. I want you guys to give me your top 3, like, okay, so whenever we say prioritizing initiatives, we want them to be realistic, feasible, making sure that we're talking about things that all students care about, and feel free to stay. Have a good night. Okay, thank you.
Grind doesn't stop.
And we want to make sure we're speaking from a collective student thing, not just our own experiences. So I want everybody to go around. I'm going to write them all up on the board. I want to say, should we do top 3 or top 5? Because then once I write down everybody's, we're going to find the matches between all of them and cross out ones that aren't and find like patterns and then go from there. So 3 or 5? 3? 5. All right. So who wants to start? Okay,
Sure, let's go.
you have this. You have on your.
I have one.
I need 3, Jared.
Sharon. Come on, Sharon.
All right. What's your one?
Moving dining halls hours on the weekends from 10:30 to 9:30, or to open from 10:30 to 9:30.
Should we count snaps?
Snaps are fine. Clapping is not.
Wow.
Dining hall hour.
Oh, Sunday and Saturday.
I'm gonna say weekend improvement.
Improvement.
Yeah.
So vague.
Almost said.
I have
Okay, so you'll learn with it. So like with initiatives, like you want to have a rough idea, and then you start talking to stakeholders and look figuring out like what you can do and where you can go. But if you show up to our old office and be like, I want this and only this, they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, look, man, it might be in the plan. Is that all you have?
For now.
Okay. Who wants to go next? Okay, I know Kai and you.
I want to extend on that by going to food options in the commons as well.
For hours?
For hours.
That is very important, I believe. Yeah. I meant green tomatoes. Just the one.
So as somebody that worked with Charlotte last year, I like typed. Remember, was anybody a part of the focus group?
Wait, yes, I went to that.
I typed. I hand typed all of those written pieces of paper. Yes, no, I mean,
so sorry.
no, it's okay. But a lot of
I
these things were brought up. So I wonder if in the contract, if like this is one we pick, before we choose this as our one, we should check their contract and what that has planned out over the next like 4 or 5 years. So, food options in the commons hour-wise or option-wise, like amount of options?
I would think it's hour-wise, especially on weekends.
All right, Patrick, I hear you. All right, here.
Sorry, I thought really like general, not yours.
I mean, I'll put hours and options. Okay, Kai, do you have any others? Try to give me as many, because we'll have 2. We'll have 2 group initiatives.
Can you come back?
Yeah.
Alright, so my top initiatives are going to be Senate counseling services. As a current, counseling services will only offer you short-term counseling before they refer you off campus. And I feel like a lot of students might not be able to afford off-campus counseling, especially because the majority of them don't take certain types of insurance. And when it comes to that, commuting off campus is rather difficult as well. That's my first one. My second one is kind of going off of this, something I had prior to the event there, but definitely an increase in times available at UHS, especially because this is, and it's already hit my dorm, the fall freshman sickness era.
So like increasing hours? There?
Yeah, increasing hours availability, because definitely people are going to start getting sick a lot quicker, and like that doesn't help when there's no options on weekends except for the closest for first response clinic or like med-star places, Baltimore Pike.
I would say what goes hand in hand with hours and like selectability is also the amount of practitioners. So
Yeah.
I think
like even if it's just like one person on the weekends, but just like, you know, a presence there.
okay.
Cool.
Question? Sure.
So like how, I guess, how attainable are these goals? Like addressing like some of the demands in like, actually but they're relevant, but like UHS, like who do we need to contact? Like,
Yeah, it's like a conversation you would start having with like Bruce Herman and who is like one of the main contacts in the counseling and like UHS area. Start having those conversations with him. I think this board is more about like even if it's kind of unattainable, like still putting it here and then narrowing down where we can go. So yeah, because we won't have this done until like October 1st. Because we need to look into options of like what are those things. Because we want initiatives that get done, not just like fall. So that's a good question. Do you have another one? Or just this one?
My other one was more locations that UBC Transit will visit to.
Okay.
Mainly because like we already go to like, you know, Baltimore or Baltimore stuff, but I feel like Tallahassee, there's a lot of other places nearby where there's a couple shopping centers that really like arrives out there people could really use. And I feel like they sell like HMart for like supermarkets too and that kind of stuff. Because we have a lot of that great mall. But the one that goes to like the HMart only goes on certain times and it's not every day. So like you have to check the hours for those. There was like some operational, but there's like a lot of other things that are available around here that I feel like maybe we just want extra bus. Like a lot people could explore a lot more. Those are my three.
Cool. That's good.
Would be having more having accessibility to like emergency contraception.
Okay.
Like having like Plan B in the vending machine in the library in the ILC.
I think it's against state law to have it in a vending machine.
Ireland has it.
UMB does.
Like Plan B?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I have a good
There's
contact.
two different types. There's some of them that's restricted only. They used to be restricted only, but they changed over as of recent. So that's what.
There we go.
Also like in order to get like Plan B at UHS, you have to have an appointment, and like legally you don't, like that's not required in the state of Maryland, so we're already making that required at UHS. But it's already so difficult to get an appointment, and they're closed on weekends, so like.
Right.
Well, when it comes to Plan B, that's kind of something you don't want to wait for.
Right.
Right. It's a very time sensitive thing.
Yeah. And then my second thing is like having like our faculty be more diverse, like more representative of our student body. That's something that I was like really passionate about trying to work on last year, but they're like being weird about me going to like faculty senate meetings because I wasn't in senate. And that's all I have so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
sure
is.
Thank you. You guys have one? Did you say this retriever statue outside the library?
I think that we need to look at the feasibility of a public safety council.
Okay.
Of some kind. That's why I said feasibility, so I don't know how that would be run. But I think that this is something that I want to work with Stop with as well, because I think a rebuilding committee is like a good idea, but I think it's like, because we didn't really try anything down, right? We're not rebuilding. I think, but creating like a public safety committee of some kind where you could sit on it with police and with campus life and with students from different survivor groups and stuff like that, I think would be very important, especially moving forward from where we are right now. Also, if that gets on, the sugar statue, just I really like that.
I'll second that.
Yeah, that's the sugar side.
Move to approve. What?
No, actually, I would like to also, yeah, like let me go in all the way here.
Okay.
I would
About
like
this.
to.
About this.
Oh no,
Another
you
point?
can move down that one.
I just didn't know if put another down.
This to me was at 9.
Which one?
0.9, I'm at 9 on here.
Can you read it like what it
It's
or
the
what the
extra
gist of it is?
legal amnesty.
Oh, okay.
That exists at most other universities in Maryland. If you, and this is something that I've had personal experience with, like, well, it's not myself, but like some of my closest friends here. If you seek help on like a weekend, and you've been drinking and you seek help for a friend who is in a bad situation, you will be written up and you will face a lot of bad issues.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, so like my friend took someone to the like desk at Susquehanna, and my friend like he needed to go to the hospital. It's something that didn't happen. They took him to the hospital. My friend had also been drinking, was written up, and had to go through like alcohol training, which that to me is incredibly dangerous because what that does is incentivizes people to not get help. That's just the alcohol. Like, I can't even imagine like other situations like if you've been doing drugs and then you get sexually assaulted, like you are just not going to police. I don't care who you are, you're just not going because you get in so much trouble. And that to me, I think is one of the most serious issues that's very easy to like fix. So
alcohol and drug and
oh, it's like all. I think well, not it's not all, but like let's start with alcohol and drugs and see where that.
Well, that's what I mean. Alcohol and drug and policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Who else has thoughts? Jared, you got another one? Or were you just stretching? I couldn't tell.
I had one.
What? Rack hours, right? Tell me about it. I've been talking about rack hours for 3 years. Huh?
Rack hours.
I've been talking about the rack hours Why, you got feelings about that? We should talk.
Oh, I noticed. Getting like new library books in the library, because every time I go there, it's like all the books are just really old.
New library books, like, what do you mean?
Like,
pleasure reading or academic reading?
We love a reader.
Whoa. Just like books that are like. I think they're all old in the library.
All research journals.
And like I try to get a modern book from the library, and it's just not there.
Okay.
That is true.
That is
facts.
a modern book.
Yeah.
Meaning what?
That is modern.
Just
You
books
mean like new releases?
like a book
Like fiction,
after the year
nonfiction.
2000.
Like books
Okay.
to read for
Fun.
For fun.
But not necessarily like fun books, but like
No.
maybe
But
challenging
for
books.
pleasure reading, not for academic reading.
He said both.
I mean,
Or both.
sometimes I read academic books.
Oh, no, right.
Oh,
You're
yes.
not talking about a textbook.
Yes, I'm talking like pleasure reading.
Like
There's
fiction
like
and
really
nonfiction.
favorite honors
Like
college.
things that are maybe on the bestsellers list.
Jared is the purist
Right.
inside.
So I don't think that's what like philosophical books and things like that are like. So what are you talking about? Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Mentally enriching books.
Okay, I just put that they're outdated and we can just put that to everything. A lot of things have become electronic and you're like, yeah, so I agree.
You're also on the library.
No.
I am on the library.
Question. So Yasmin is outside. She said that some
Jasmine?
She was
Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Jasmine?
About media something
Brenda, can you read that?
along those lines. She said that somebody said to come 7:30.
Can you read that?
Oh my god.
Jasmine, she's up there.
Oh, she's outside?
Jasmine.
Jasmine. Yasmin was here earlier.
See, I was also confused.
I think we put the Y and the J together. And say yes.
I wasn't intentional.
She's like sitting in the by couches.
During the stop.
Sitting in the cut.
Your students are very good.
And now we're also getting Jasmine who's applying.
Yasmin, Jasmine.
Those two very different names.
What? We're not done this. This is gonna take a little bit.
No, what if there was
Yeah, I did.
I 5 hours.
Yeah, but that's like the university.
Oh, you didn't know we didn't have that? St. Mary's at College Park, like most universities here, but you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
We
okay.
had that answer.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
No, but yeah, even at private unis.
We consider ourselves as early adopters.
All right, so feel free to get settled in. Whenever you're ready, if you just want to tell us about yourself and why you're here, feel free.
Okay, well, hi everyone. Hi, my name is Jasmine Shields, and I am an MCS major, as we discussed dinner last week. I am here because I am your social media coordinator. So I'm really excited for it because it has a lot to do with my major. I have experience with coordinating my own social media, so it should be really fun for me, and it'll be fun to work with all of you guys for this school year. And, yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, so who wants to kick off questions? Good.
So if you're talking about, I understand that you work at Walker Apartments, but what does your class load look like as well? Like any other extracurriculars that you do, and how would that impact, and where does SGA stand on your priority of other activities?
As far as my class load is, I am taking 5 classes. As far as like time-wise, I have a lot of like gap in space, even when I'm at work. Because at work, all I do is sit down at a desk. There's not much to it. So when it comes to SGA, I can always be working on SGA stuff along with school stuff if need be. I'm really flexible with time. So, and I'm very organized. I have like 3 calendars. So I leave like little room for error. So I try to make space and get everything in organized manner.
So along the title of this position is web development. Do you have any relevant experience? If not, how do you plan on gaining some?
Relative experience. I don't really have any relative experience as a social media coordinator.
I feel as though I've always learned by being hands-on with it. That's all I really think of.
I guess what are some concrete things that you have done in the past? 'Cause I guess you mentioned your MCS. Like, what are some concrete things you've done in the past that you think would relate to this position?
Well, for MCS, I've done a lot of things. I've written press releases. I've done work in InDesign Pro, most of the Adobe Suite things. I know how to make magazine covers. I know how to do magazine pages. I know how to set up websites next to Tumblr, because I used to Tumblr a lot. And when I just have in MySpace, I'm not into coding, but I knew how to like put in bold letters, colorful letters, you know what I mean? Yeah, I used to be able to do that with coding on social media sites, so I know how to put together pictures and make it look pretty on the internet. I've actually had to do that for one internship, but it was more so for medicine, so it wasn't fun. So, yeah. So hopefully I can take all of that and then put it into this.
Alright, what other questions do we have? Yeah.
What do you think would be one obstacle that you have to face if you took on this job? How do you plan to overcome it?
Deadlines. Because of all the papers that I have to write, and in one of my classes, so two of my classes were a reporting class, and it's a deadline savvy class. So the only thing I can see is making deadlines.
How do you plan to overcome them?
So overcome them. I just have to take everything piece by piece. When I approach something, I don't just attack it. I have to take it apart little bit by little bit and approach it step by step. Because if I take on too much, I'm gonna overwhelm myself. So that's how
Jordan, then,
So it says that your goal is just to be the best as you can be, which is understandable. But some more in terms of social media, do you have some kind of goals, maybe having some kind of engagement goal or following goal or posting some amount of things a week or something like that? Do you have any those kind of goals?
My main goal for the social media aspect of things is I want students here to be more involved with SGA, because prior to me actually being interested in SGA, a lot of people were talking about SGA, and I feel like a lot of that had to do with social media presence. So hopefully I can make our social media presence more impactful than it already is, so to speak. I don't know the term for it right now, but hopefully I'm able to do that through using the social media base that we have.
And how do you plan to do that? What are some of the tangible examples?
For one thing, word of mouth. I can tell my friends, oh, you guys should follow SGA, or if we're having events, you guys should come out to SGA and see what they're doing with the school and stuff. Because a lot of things happen on this campus, and a lot of people don't know that SGA is a big part of that. So I feel like just by word of mouth and telling people, oh, hey, come see what we're doing with the school, and reposting on my own page what SGA is doing currently in BC could be helpful.
So in light of current recent events, social media has kind of become a place where a lot of information, even small articles, can blow up really big when it involves the campus. And as we've seen, students can also be very involved in that. So as social media coordinator, not only are you posting on behalf, but you're also kind of being the first person to see the incoming comments that are coming in and kind of discourse involving UMBC. So what's your kind of able reaction time to get in contact with people and kind of figure out basically how would you manage situations like that where incidents blow up?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I think I would be in the moment to actually tell you, but I do realize that since I am doing social media coordinating, I will be basically the face, not the face. I shouldn't say face. Should I say face? No, I shouldn't. Should I say face?
In this situation,
I think I'll be the face. So it's people look at me as a representation of what SGA is, so I should use that in a professional manner when approaching things like that. I know how to block out the haters. So.
We're blocking out the haters.
Great. Any more questions? Can you talk about how, whenever you are feeling overwhelmed,
me, when I get overwhelmed, I literally shut down. So what I have to do is, if I really feel as though I just cannot do it, I'll email call member first. But I'll try to keep like doing it so that I won't let the rest of SGA down. Because like I said, I'm kind of like the face of the social media thing. So when I feel as though everyone's impacted, so I'll try my best to like work my way around it. But for the most part, I haven't seen that part of me be that overwhelmed yet. So it hasn't come, and I hope that it doesn't ever come to that point.
Do you feel like with this year, with your classes, that you might hit that point, or do you feel like you're in good though?
I feel like I'm well organized, because I always organize first of the month about everything, even doctor's appointments, and I have orthodontists to go to as well. So I feel like I'm okay right now with scheduling.
Questions, comments from senators?
Question. I'm gonna repeat my question for Colin. What do you think makes Jasmine a good fit for position?
So Jasmine, when she she emailed us, and she emailed us after there were a couple of positions that we opened up again because we didn't have enough applicants, or we weren't thrilled with the applicants that we had for that particular position. So Jasmine happened to email us, and we had a conversation, and after that conversation, during the conversation, I knew that I wanted to nominate her for a position because she's been trying to get involved in SGA in some capacity for a solid year, at least, on multiple different occasions, and never heard back from anyone in the organization, or was deferred by other people. So that alone, because I know for me, if I tried to reach out to someone once, twice, I'd just be like, peace out. And Jasmine did not do that. She kept coming back, and I really admire that a lot. And then it just so happened to perfectly fit that she was in MCS and she's interested in doing this kind of stuff. That I thought that this would have been a perfect opportunity and a fit.
Other comments, questions from senators? I think some of the things that you talked a little bit about, having some problems with deadlines and just fearing like when you do get overwhelmed, shutting down. I just urge you to try to stay in contact with Colin and Brenda during that process rather than when that happens. That way they can help you along the way. And just try to check in with yourself as often as you can.
How do you manage your own social media accounts? Like, do you like post regularly? Like, how would you say you manage your own social media accounts?
Well, I think I work with Twitter, because all Twitter is retweets for me. Instagram, I'm kind of like doing this rebranding of myself because months ago, I had jaw surgery. So it altered my look, not too much, but it was a noticeable thing, like, oh, what happened, you know? So I deleted half my pictures, and I restarted everything. So I only post when I feel photogenic. But I'm healing, so don't worry. It's 4 months post-op.
All right, other questions or comments? Going once. All right. Is that a motion?
Move to approve SL 05-1819. Second.
I don't have it. Yep. All senators for. Oh, I'll talk to you after. I have it. I'll explain it up here. All senators opposed, abstaining, not present. All right, great. And with that, this motion passes. Okay, we had this conversation, guys.
Oh,
yeah,
son.
everybody. All right, if you come over here, I have all right. So, you can No, we're taking pictures. Make sure we're Everybody good? All right, great. I state your name.
I, Jasmine,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of Coordinator of Social Media and Web Development
the office of Social Media Coordinator and Web Development
of the UMBC Student Government Association
of the UMBC Student Government Association,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
promote and defend
promote and defend
the interests and well-being
the interests and well-being
of UMBC's undergraduate students.
of UMBC undergraduate students.
All right, great. Thank you.
Oh, wait. Again, I need to talk to you before you leave.
Okay.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
As long as you like that.
A little bit. If a bug does not
Oh, well. Okay. So you can fix that.
No, thanks. It happens, I think, everybody except for the, yeah, a lot.
So I'm going to send you a file.
It's all good.
The student fair. I told you all were.
Sure is. Also print every Saturday.
Joining us. All right, guys, we're like in the end of our meeting. We just need to finish this, and then we'll keep digesting it. But we just gotta get through this announcements. Oh, and university management. But okay, so I want to hear from people I didn't hear from. So, Stephanie, Marion?
Cool. Thank you. You're welcome. Cool beans.
It's either
Congratulations,
Marion,
you.
Jordan.
Lily.
Hey. And one's Brandon.
Lily.
And, well, yeah, and me, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
See you guys.
Please make me look
for
at
the store bodies that happen through October. So they'll just like jump on one of them.
Oh, let's keep things down.
Yeah. Okay, is that 9? Okay, so from anybody that doesn't have, who wants to go? Brandon, how about you?
Sure.
Great.
Trying to think of things that aren't already happening. Because some of the things that we discussed were like updating the rack, like weight room things, but I know that we're also taking like the varsity gym and.
They said that's not right.
What?
Somebody said it to me the other day.
Who's somebody?
I'll
Put that on there. Yeah, put that on there then. Okay. If someone's talking like that. Another thing that we talked about was cross-contamination issues in terms of like utensils and using different utensils for or using the same utensils for different things or using the same pair of gloves for different things, especially with eating restrictions.
I think this one can be like an email or something.
Sure.
Because I don't know how that would form into a project.
Then we talked about
Let's just put it right here for 3 years. So.
extending time or extending opening hours for academic buildings using engineering as an example.
Okay. So it's a name. And like, do you have like specific buildings in mind? I think somebody said public policy last time.
No, public policy is over 20%.
What?
The public policy is over 20%. I've definitely wanted to go at 3 a.m. to do work.
Okay.
Wait, I'm hip, same. Like literally.
Yeah, like
Okay.
206 is like the best place to do work.
So are there other buildings then, or?
I'm thinking of like the bio building. Huh?
Oh yeah, the physics.
So.
But then once you're on Acro, you're on Acro. You know, they're all connected. Which might be a point of contention.
Yeah.
There might be like safety issues around this, so we'll look into it.
What is like the benefit of like keeping these buildings open
We're
longer?
keeping them the benefit,
Yeah.
but access to them like after hours.
What are
What do you benefit for it?
other than like the two that we have?
Yeah.
Robbing.
Study room.
places to study and work.
So like classrooms or like just the whole building?
It would be the whole building would be the classrooms would be open.
Okay.
So that's like Holocaust is like a couple small classrooms like conferences that can be.
And then I wonder
like,
though.
The third floor for like proper offices is closed off, those are blocked off, but like classes are opened up.
My only concern with that is like what's been going on at the university right now, and like vandalism.
Yeah, we're ignoring the graffiti that happened this
That was wild.
It was cleaned up like spotty.
Yeah, no,
Like,
they were out there.
Oh, because they were tourists. I never entered the admissions office count too.
I think also like that might stem into an issue that
I
office
I think a good starting point would, if not physics, the ICT building, because that's kind of one of the classes that could be used for study spaces.
Also, like I was saying, this classroom thing could also stem into like it's probably going to go into it more. Like, for example, you know how Sondheim and like Sherman are like student orgs are highly discouraged from using them or aren't allowed to because of like things getting moved around and like broken.
Yeah.
I foresee that also being a point that they bring up. So. Okay. Thank you, Brandon. What? Yeah. You want me to put in quotation marks?
Yeah.
There you go. Jordan, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think it's kind of barren, but I'm gonna say, just like giving, being more, like having better communication with the students in general, I guess, especially with the student government committees.
Like the updates we get from them?
Yeah, and just having more general awareness of like what's going on at the university that people don't see on an everyday basis.
Okay.
I had another idea.
Sure.
This was from like last year. I don't even know if it's an initiative. But
Go ahead, shoot.
So like it's kind of like just about like expanding out more into the community. It's very broad, so I don't really know how to even like go about it. But I feel like one thing that I was talking about last year was like being having more contact with like different businesses around and like, trying to like get different I guess partnerships. I guess.
So like our view is.
Yeah, it's kind of like Okamoka, I guess. Like Okamoka could be a
Example.
an example.
Have you thought about working with Okamoka? You said you weren't interested, right?
I never said that. I just thought someone else was doing it, so.
No, what you said. But I'll put Okamoka as an example.
Yeah.
The bubble tea place tasty should take flex.
Yo, tasty.
Could you imagine that?
Just like having more like I guess like yeah like things like that I guess like having more like ways that students would feel more inclined to go out into the outside of just the campus.
Down actually, because doesn't Papa John's have like take flex?
Well, yeah,
Sorrento's.
so does Sorrento's.
Yo, what?
They do.
Papa John's is very
Oh.
Sorrento's is so trash.
I've never went there? You didn't tell me.
No, I went last year.
Oh.
Okay. Is that it, Jordan?
Yes, it is.
Mary?
I mean, I
think
think
Did Jordan steal your idea?
Still a very huge component of like just communication, transparency. Also, just like working closely to the retriever. I just became interested in like reading it after like I read my first retriever newspaper last week. So yeah, it was really good, and I feel like we should build a better relationship with the retriever. Maybe get a column that we could like talk about all about our SGC stuff and
or correspondence.
One more student for like, I mean, I don't know if anyone has a statistic, but does anyone have any friends that read with Retriever?
I do.
I have a friend that reads. I have no friends who read the Retriever.
Yeah, I don't have any friends who read the Retriever.
Yeah,
On
so
a
like,
weekly basis,
so maybe that could be like another like I guess an initiative to like advertise the Retriever more.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we should be. I mean, I don't know if I agree with that because, like, I don't know if we should be broad. I mean, maybe making students know that it's available, but I feel like we should be putting our efforts into broadcasting ourselves through outlets that more people are already using, sort of working with where people already are, and not necessarily trying to pull people towards something and then putting other stuff there.
True, I know what you're saying, but I feel like the retriever is like, it's the like main medium, like that's like our main like news medium. So if it's already there, why not? Why not?
Right. I mean, that's why I asked people to use it. Like, if people are using it,
so
that'd be a great idea.
I mean, I'm not gonna say people don't not read it, because like when you like look at like trade papers, like they're gone. You know, like those big stacks, like they're not always like big stacks.
I think it depends on what's happening.
Yeah,
And most of the articles are online too.
Yeah.
And also online.
But I mean, that's also an idea though. Is like maybe we can get an online column and share it through our Facebooks or something, or like our social media or something.
Yeah, online would be just like they get the retriever article would get paused pretty high.
That's true.
Like that and NBC usually have like the popular sections.
But Miriam, that's a good idea. It's a good thought of like partnering with people. Even if it's not printed, like still, if we were to work with them and share it through our channels, they would still get clicks on their stuff. Like,
So about those clicks. Oh, wait, subscribe.
Okay, and then sort of like to build off on the theme of like relationships and communication.
Yep.
I feel like in light of like this scandal, for lack of a better word, I saw like a lot of unity like between student organizations, and I feel like that's something that I want to see more often. So like building relationships. I guess maybe this is like a Zane Hockenberger type thing. But like, I just like saying his last name.
You're right now.
Hockenberger. Maybe this is like his initiative, but like working to build a better relationship between student organizations and just SGA as like an entity, you know.
In a way that's slightly more inclusive than going to finance board every now and then for money.
For money, yeah. So like building like a personal like
Don't get me started.
relationship. So
I feel very passionate about that. Okay. Yeah. What's up?
This was an idea I had last year too.
Sure.
Or it was just like a thought. Building better relationships with faculty and staff beyond just like sitting in a meeting. You know what I mean? I think that would help to like strengthen the relationship between SGA and other parts on campus.
Like lunches or something?
Yeah, like lunches and stuff like that.
Pizza with the college part. Brunch with the faculty part.
Okay, cool. I have so many ideas, but I don't know.
Top 3.
Something I feel very angry about is the amount of lights that are out on this campus. And like, as a 5'3" woman, okay, look, I could be snatched with one arm, alright? Like, I could literally, I've had people pick me up with one arm, man. Like,
Actually, no, I'll second. Really? Because those lights are like so dim, and then they won't get active until like 10:30 when it's already dark. Like, my sister's on this campus, and like, I don't feel safe.
Last year, towards the end of Senate meetings, like, we would all have to walk out together, and this entire middle part right here would be, they're completely out. Like, they're not dim, they were out.
Yeah, no, this year they're like silent about that, but that was definitely last year. Like, every time my sister was at the library, like, I felt compelled to go pick her up because I didn't feel, like, this small stretch did not feel safe.
But also, what was upsetting was, like, so I was an RA last year, and whenever we brought that to, like, our staff meeting, we were told that it's, like, how you're supposed to signify that the light is out is you're supposed to take tape and put it on the lamppost so that they knew that like the light was out, but like that's not my job. Like, and I get it, but I think there should be a better way. Like if each lamppost was numbered or something, and you like submitted that online or something, and you're like lamppost 37 is out. Like that's fine. I understand they're not always here after hours, but it's not my job to like
go around.
Right. I don't work for facilities. Yeah.
But bugs, and then when it's raining, all the lights are on, even though you could see.
Oh man, you should get paid to tell them when the lights are on.
Yeah, that should be a separate position.
If you call a light out, then they give you like $10.
20 cents. You get 20 cents for every lamppost you were.
Like two retriever dollars. Like $2
So that's like something I feel kind of like.
And theoretically, you don't have to pay much money at the beginning.
You got like dues too or something like that. Yeah.
Floods for some reason. Get all of them. Humans versus zombies. It's out.
Yo, I've been hit before.
Well, they do their best.
I think with how UMBC climate is right now, I think whatever initiative we pick, I want it to be substantial and impact students in a different way than.
I agree.
I love tagging and I think it's really important, but I think that can be solved through different avenues than potentially a huge initiative can, especially with how dining contracts go and stuff. So yeah, I also think that counseling services should get more support.
They're.
I mean, what if it might be are all of these very long-term initiatives?
No, they should be done by the time that we're.
Because what if we took on 2 initiatives and then we just completed them and took on 2 more and completed those and took on
initiatives take a lot longer.
Well, that's why I'm asking if they're short-term, right?
So I mean, of course, when we're picking, we're going to go through and be like, so now that this is done, we now move into the eliminating options because they're not feasible or they're going to take too long, or maybe they're supposed to be a longer-term thing.
I just want to take a picture of this now, just that we have a reference for future speakers.
Yeah. But also, we're going to go through and label which ones can potentially just be addressed by emails or smaller projects instead of large multi-people initiatives.
Yeah.
Because remember, each of your initiatives will have about 4 or 5 people on it. And so 4 or 5 people don't need to solve
I can type it up real quick.
That's okay.
I just want
Type
to
it up for me once we figure out our list.
I just want to make sure we don't lose any, because since we're going to be getting rid of ideas as we narrow down, I just want to make sure we don't lose any, because they're all good ideas. And I don't want them to disappear and then them to be forgotten about. If they are something that you could do in the short term, we're 2 people just on their own, trying to fix something. So I just want to make sure we don't lose any ideas.
A long process, but bear with me, because this is the most collaborative collection process that we can do. What's up?
I want to start, I guess. I think in light of.
I was going to go 1 by 1. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I figured if we go 1 by 1, eliminate the ones that aren't feasible, then we can prioritize the ones that are less. Cool. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fine. I'm still processing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Diagonal hour weekend improvement. Do you think that can be something that can be talked about one-on-one? I can put you in the context. Okay. So.
It sounds late nighty.
I can put that. I can put you in that.
It does sound late nighty.
Okay. New library books.
Probably another one-on-one.
Yeah. I'm not going to start canceling out people's ideas, so I just need everybody to do it with me.
Wow. We're all over this.
I didn't messing up the red marker with everything. Alright, options in the comments. I feel like
that's not
I feel like that's a collective thing.
So an email one-on-one kind of thing?
No.
I think that's
This might be in the plan for the contract also. As
But I think we should ask.
Yeah, I think this is something that we need more information on.
Okay, so I'm gonna put a star next to the things we want clarification on.
Okay.
And a circle, yes, what's that?
So I would, for something like that, I would call Tom and friends into Senate as a speaker.
Yep.
I like friends.
Okay. No, they don't. But you can go to dining committee with me.
But I think having Tom and friends come to Senate is different than going to dining committee.
No, they're on my list.
Yeah.
So I always bring them in. So, oh yeah, that's a spoiler alert. We will have a bunch of guest speakers coming in, and dining is one of them.
You're welcome.
Why dining? If I don't have the connects also. Extending housing services. I feel like this is one we could potentially leave and I'll get to.
Absolutely.
All right, increasing hours and number of people available for counseling services. So this goes with.
Oh no, the second one's involving UHS.
Stop.
They're two
Well,
very.
UHS and counseling are kind of together.
They're there, but the hours and number of people available, and it's the idea is that they're they're under the same blanket, but counseling is more trying to get long term because it's the appointment types, and then the hours and number of people there are related to UHS. But that can be more closely addressed in the kiosks section.
I think they're the same thing.
I think we can
They're
have
two.
conversations.
I thought about two because they're two different buildings. That's why.
I mean,
Oh, they're operating under the same.
They're under the same. Like for the hours and number of people available, like counseling should be there, but that's more over like.
There are a lot of conversations happening at the same time.
Okay, we're not going to cross either out. So we can just let's move on and get to, let's discuss, like, elaborate it later as we prioritize. Cool. I don't want to waste too much time. More UBC transit locations. I can have Joe come in and talk about this because he might have things in planning.
Yeah, sure.
And also, there was something we signed off on like 2 years ago that, where is it? I don't know. That's your question. Lights out on campus safety. I feel like this is something I can take care of individually.
Yeah, just walk out with a roll of tape, problem solved.
Great. Stop. Counseling services. Okay, so that goes with that one. That's a crossover. Accessibility to contraception. I think that's good. I think it's something we can look into though. Like get answers before we go into an initiative for it. Okay.
Also involved.
What other shape? These squares? Great. More diverse faculty. I think this is like a university strategic plan effort as well.
Yeah. I feel like we could like make recommendations, but I think that's something we have to do. Yeah, we can't fix that by the end of this year.
I think Colin and I just had a conversation about this as well, outside of Sherman.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. Sorry. Okay. You're good. Public Safety Committee. I think this could actually get done. If I'm being honest, I think it could actually get done. Like from what I've seen initiative-wise.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good one. Especially with the climate right now.
Yeah.
Is everybody else like keeping this one?
Hold truth there. Let's hold power.
Okay.
Let's
try again.
Let's do it.
Let's hold the power.
Alright, remember statutes.
Yes.
Wait, what was the first? Let's go back to our, is this realistic and does it actually impact students, guys?
Throw the proof down after front of the library.
Somebody come
Give me a dog, I'll put it up.
just give Patrick the dogs in your office and have him reconstruct them, please.
I will do it. I'll do it.
It sounds like a proven initiative.
Okay.
Not making a proof kind of
You can't.
Do what you want.
We get paid by us. Okay, work with other people. Work with other people. Inspire some students, Patrick. Although, have you heard of the statues that got vandalized?
Oh, I didn't do like a real dog.
Right. The reason why the proven ones were because it like signify like a bunch of UBC cultures and like stuff like that. So
Yeah, I think it's like to me, if I'm being honest, like, to see it, something like that, it should just be like, oh, like that is made, like, not a lot of time spent into that. I think that high camera reel would be a little bit different.
there was a lot of time spent into this. They were handcrafted.
So that's what I mean, though, like.
Okay, Patrick. Please look into this on your own.
I don't get what I call it.
I feel like it would make more sense to be a part of the library though. Like that's like
You know what, guys?
It's circle, bro.
It's like it's made for the library.
Yo, all we gotta do is pick up the staff.
Okay, great. Let's circle it back. I think this is a really important issue that even if we don't work on, we can still get like clarification on.
Yes.
It's connected with the community also back in Spain.
These do interconnect, you're right.
I think that, yeah, like if the committee.
So this could be like a goal, this could be like a goal of the committee.
Right. We made the committee and then give them.
Correct. These are my ideas.
Oh wait, oh bro, wait.
Okay. Better student organ SGA. I think that's important, but I think maybe we can work with Zane, like just on like how to already do that, like in everything we do. Do you think? Everybody else? Yes. So like in our everyday operation, like supporting them and supporting us. Like, you know, finance board goes to events to support them, kind of like us doing the same, of like how we should also be attending student org events to show that we're supporting them. Kind of like how we went to Pangea.
So yes, I feel like that's true, but I feel like that's like a really easy way to like not overlook it per se, but like not get like concrete ways that we could better like organizations. You know what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah. So I think just this might be too broad that like it needs to be narrowed down for us to figure out. So like, what exactly?
So like creating like student like lunches, student organization lunches, sort of like the pizza
There was a lot of
student
student
relations. Yeah, but like starting somewhere.
We did do like last year I did the diversity dinners.
Oh, I loved it. Like, these things were good.
Yeah, I got a lot of good feedback. Like
Yeah,
we
there's
did
some
like
work that-
something like that.
Like SGA connects a lot of the cultural organizations. Like you could find some others like that. They should like social action ones. You've got progressives, college and
Yeah, so, like,
people want to make like change like the eco groups, a lot of that stuff. So you can do like social change groups can meet up and they can like discuss and stuff. But I think that is a good idea.
So like
Because-
actual like examples or like ways, actual techniques. Yeah.
Because I feel like it is too broad, but I think the answer that you're giving is also rather broad. It feels like a
Yeah.
bare minimum as opposed to a potential solution.
But I feel like with that, it's really great, but I don't know if it should be housed in the Senate. Does that make sense? Because it's an ongoing thing, like it doesn't ever end. Does that make sense?
Yes, but I feel like there's still like concrete like techniques that we can employ.
I just don't know if that would be better to work with like executive council and like the executive branch to work with them. But I'm gonna leave it up here and we can like flesh it out more as we go, if that's okay.
Okay.
Just because if we do that, then the Senate is expected to continue doing that, and I don't know if that'll always be the goal of the Senate, is to do that. So, just like sustainability of it. Okay, I think this has been talked about for like 3 straight years. Of like better communicating with students about the things that are happening, and shared governance stuff, and broadcasting ourselves better. And I know Mary and Brandon, I think you both felt really strong, and Jordan, I think, felt really strong about it last year. Like threw around some ideas. Okay, so we can keep all of this. Cool. Faculty staff relationships. Lunch pizza, something. Thoughts? Yeah.
I think it's important, but I personally think it just needs other words.
Other people that I've heard from, Brandon, Ty, Jerry.
I agree.
Liam, I always hear from you. I'm trying to coax out the other ones. All my other friends here.
Talk.
And you don't have to talk, I'm just asking. Making sure I recognize you. So what do we want to do? Keep it, cross it.
Personally, I think there are like bigger issues right now. They're not down, but I think it's like worth looking at in the future for sure.
Okay.
Just like going on to like the diamond stuff, like it's definitely there's some funny shit happening. That'd be an appropriate time for it.
Okay.
I feel like we can set it up, but I don't know if it's like enough content in there for a full initiative. We're only picking like 2 to focus on this entire year. That's like one that.
So maybe it's just like a small thing we try to look into doing if
Yeah.
it's something finished. Okay.
A mini initiative.
Okay. So for now, no. But okay. More communication with students. Yeah, that goes with that. Expanding out to community. Arbutus, Catonville, Halesworth. I think this is good, but do you think that we can just kind of start with Okamoka and our continued involvement with them and try to keep going as we involve ourselves with other people for Okamoka?
Yeah.
Okay. Brandon?
Collie, do you have thoughts on the campus card stuff?
Oh boy. Ooh. Everybody does. Ooh, everybody followed up.
Let's do this. We have some following up to do, so.
We sure do.
TBD.
TBD.
So along the lines of things that they could, like, felt, like housing costs.
What did that mean? I don't, can you verbalize
So
that
like
for
how
me?
there are other things that the executive board is handling. We're talking about communication being around them. I feel like campus card, if you're already establishing connections.
So you're saying like this doesn't house itself in the Senate, kind of. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, we'll still have like people going as I appoint, and like as we elect like FYAs and new senators, I'm hoping they can be involved with Okamoka and like continue. Okay, expanding the rack. This is a continuous issue, but I think we can look into this, but we don't need to work on it. Especially because there's a rack renewal committee now. Wokio? Yeah. That one? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you got it.
So is the RAC renewal committee the same as the athletics policy committee? Got it.
No, they're different. Rack renewal though was like sent out over the summer, and it's like multiple people. It doesn't like house itself in SGA or like. I also don't think it's a shared governance committee, is it? I don't think so. But Colin and I are both on it. It's just like, it's a monthly meeting, I think. Or 2 monthly. Cross-contamination food. I feel like this is a complaint that we can talk about through email. To Scott DeBello. Great. Extending academic building time. The building hours.
I feel like there's a lot of pros to cons with it, so I think there needs to be more of a longer discussion about it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like for us this might, and I hate to think this, but I think it might cause more like gridlock than it would like ease. I agree. I think some of the other initiatives will like, we have student support right now with them, which is like good. But we can keep it up here and keep talking, prioritizing. Okay, great. So now you know what time it is, right?
Summertime.
Now it's assigning people to these emails. Who wants to look into dining hall issues? Who wants to send that? Or do we want to wait till they come in?
Let's wait till they come
Dining? Okay.
I think Jared expressed interest in that.
So we'll just talk to them whenever they get here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Great.
Oh, no.
Great.
Wait, that's not fun.
Okay. Transit. Joe will come in, so we'll ask him about this whenever. Are you typing? Did you type all this?
Yeah.
Okay, you're great. Thank you.
I considered applying for Secretary of the Senate.
Hey, Jared, you want to take meeting minutes next time? Great, thanks. Just kidding. We'll have the secretary complain.
That was reassuring.
Hey, wow. That's a lot of work, man. Okay. Cool.
Wait, so what are the dots represent?
Huh?
So the dots.
Black dots, email, green
The
dots
dot?
is conversation.
It's a very confusing process.
That's my green dot.
Legend.
Wait,
What
what
has
is
to be
a
something?
square?
The
What does a
square?
square mean?
The square. I don't remember.
What does a beam represent?
We said accessibility contraception. Did we say that we just want to like talk to? We want
Yeah, they wanted to
Let's
look
hear
at
a
like the conversation that would be loudly, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Oh, that was like a deeper one. So who
Yeah.
wants to get in contact with? I'd say Julia Byrne is a good contact for this because she was trying to do this. Okay, Kia.
Yeah.
Wow, who's that?
Great. What else? Okay. Meshy. Cool.
No, it's because it's your initiative. So yeah, why aren't I saying anything against you, girl?
Jared, you said you took all this down.
A lot. Some of the stuff on the edge there
This stuff?
is like some of like the like you were standing next to it.
Should someone just get the hell out of the way?
Well, I didn't like I wrote all like the different bullet points, but not like just like underneath extending
I would just take a
academic buildings. I didn't have.
We
like,
did.
IPE.
Okay.
I have all like the main areas.
Cool. I'm going to erase the ones that we addressed because I want to see what we're looking at. Goodbye, Jared. His entire name.
Oh.
I know, that was embarrassing, wasn't it?
You should erase my name. It's all about the issues.
Keon's gonna look into this and we'll prove it.
Sweet. I have a random question while we're at risk.
What's up, man?
How much money does Prudent Winner get?
$10,000.
$10,000.
And continue to support the Student Government Association in ways that the SGA can support them by. It's super expensive.
$10,000 for their project.
Hey, like
Who can send an email about
No.
Colin? Who can take contact?
Hold on, I'm in crisis.
Wait, Colin.
No, I'm not in crisis.
I need you.
But I can't fix it.
You need to call it
Did you mess up?
Colin, anytime Colin waves his hands like this, we're not.
What did you do?
Sorry guys, I'm waiting.
No,
okay, while I'm waiting for Colin, can anybody reach out to somebody from the RAC and ask them about like the progress of what is like pending to happen?
I was.
I'm asking in a second. It's an email, huh?
You're on the renewal committee?
I don't know. It's the next meeting. Plus, like, I want to make sure people have like to-dos so we can like continue this conversation. Is it Gary?
No.
Who?
So actually, who?
I know it's a.
I would probably start with Joe Rexland.
Okay.
Joe who?
Joe Rexland.
That meeting hasn't been scheduled, has it?
No.
Okay.
I'll bug y'all with Joe Rexland.
Did we say extending academic buildings wasn't something we were doing?
Yeah, let's say we
Yeah.
Table it or try to focus on something else?
What's the difference?
Tabling it means I don't erase it and we still keep it as an option?
Oh, no.
No, great for who's gonna try.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so this is what we're left with. Congrats.
The committee to be a thing.
Alright, so we have UHS and counseling, Patrick's public safety committee, and talking about amnesty for students and protecting them under those circumstances. And better putting ourselves out there with other retrievers and UBC students. I think this should also, I think a future thought is like how we engage like alumni and have them be involved. That's a future thought. That's not a now thought. Patrick?
If I propose this to my friend Jordan here, you said that more communication with students. I think that I mentioned this in the office on Saturday. I think that this is like a really good time for that because as we've been coming from a little bit tonight, like we're kind of in like a scandal situation right now. So I like we're like looking around for someone to like do something. So I think that like this opportunity really lends itself to that. And I think that if we show that we're doing stuff about the scandal, like counseling, UHS hours, counseling, UHS, stuff like that, and then blast it out there as much as possible on things like social media, like this is how the SGA is working to like improve the campus and improve climate and stuff like that. I think that could be combined with a lot of these for the time being to try to help improve that relationship with the student body.
So what you're saying is this doesn't necessarily need to be an initiative, it's just a way we should like live?
No.
Is that what you're...
Yes. Well, shit, I mean,
that's what I'm hearing.
But like with Jordan and Miriam, like,
yeah.
I think those can be, they don't need to be like initiatives on their own. I think they can be like inside all of the other stuff that's going on, and then just like have like a dedication to like, okay, like while we do these, like keep everyone like this is what we're doing on these initiatives. Like let's like prove that we're leaders again, have the capacity to like get things done.
Well, I think one of the issues as to why we haven't had what?
He has a comment.
Well, go ahead.
It's more of a question.
What's up? Ask away.
So yeah, with the coming of news this past weekend.
Yes.
Are we allowed to talk about what we have on the board right now to people outside of SGA to make people feel more at ease? Because I know everyone's have goosebumps right now.
I would say.
And nothing is a promise, but it's what we're
Well, I really hesitate about getting people's hopes up about the SGA doing something and we don't do it. Does that make sense?
Right.
Because it could blow up.
Right.
I think though, once we get this tailored down, and if we want to do that tonight, we only have 3 options. So if we want to tailor down to 2 tonight, then yes.
What was your whole thought?
Patrick, Jared, I see you. Hold on.
Well, with the many people here, a lot of people are very concerned, and a lot of people are kind of scared right now. So I just thought that, people had letting people know that we're working, like we're trying to help us all.
Jared, then Patrick.
Well, so kind of along with what Patrick was saying earlier, and kind of address what Kai's saying. I think what Patrick was saying about how we have a unique opportunity, I think he's right because of the fact that we have a lot of students who are really upset right now and who are really invested and they want to see change. And we also want to make change, right? And having that backing from the students, right? And all the faculty knowing that this is what the students want, we have them all behind us as we're pursuing these initiatives, could mean that we could have a lot more sway with whatever we want to do. And Along with that, I had something else. I'll think about it.
Just
Go
we'll come back to
ahead.
you. Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I think
And then-
reinforcing what Jared said. No, I think that this is probably the right word, but like the administration right now is soft. Like they realize they need to do something, and we can offer them, be like, look, do this, give the students this, and you will be able to say that we did more, and we'll be able to say like we pushed this. And now this is like the answer to it, but it gives us the ability to say like this is what's happening. And with Kyle, what you were saying about, I think like we should tell students about this, because then if it blows up, it's on them, not us. It shows that we fought for this, we were willing to fight for this. If this blows up, then we were still fighting for it, and the administration stands to why they're not letting us do it, or why they're not assisting us.
Okay, thank you. What is your,
Yeah, so it's just along with what Patrick said.
Are you guys brothers or something?
Look at the podcasts over here. Like,
Wow, I would have like never thought.
The way that we can approach this is we can say that this is what SGA wants to do to address the situation, but we need your help if we're going to be able to do anything. You know? Like we need support, and we don't have to come out like this is what we're going to do,
I think
or this is what is happening. It's like this is what we're trying to do as SGA, and we want to do this all together. You know, and
I agree with you. I think that there's a difference between these two things, right? Like, and Liam, I see you. Hold on.
I'm just roasting them right now.
But for example, extending counseling services and the number of like people available and that type of stuff, that's very different to spread out to the like UBC community. One, because that does boil down a lot to budget and like understanding if they have capacity and like money for people. Now, what I do think is like the committee is a much more like tangible thing that doesn't take the amount of resources that like hiring 3 new people and extending hours for like operation is. Does that make sense? Candace, I think you have something to say. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think my only comment on all of this is that a lot of these things are related, like you said, to things that have come out over the weekend and today from STOP and from other student organizations, and I would just say that to make sure you're doing this with them and not for them.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing I would keep in the center of it, right? Is that these are things you do with students and not for students.
Liam and Patrick. Thank you, Candace.
So back to Kai's point. I think the big thing that we'll do to show that we're doing change for students would be our legislation that we're going to put out on Monday in support of their points, because that at the very least give that first show. And they're already calling for the creation of I forget what it's called, but their committee, their RC.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with this coming in, this can be like our attachment to that. So that would be our way of working with the students. Be like, hey, they want this, we want it, we're going to add a little extra. This is what we'd like to do. So I feel like it's an idea that, and by word, I can just say like, our goals for this semester, or we're going to try and move towards this. And then finally, as for like the speaking out of this, like definitely blasting what we're doing once we finally have concrete plans.
Yeah.
Saying like, hey, once we find this out, we're going to like do that, and then kind of keep the like track of how we've done that, and we can use that as a framework for when we have other initiatives that might not be as, I'll say, potent as this one, just given resources. But when we do other initiatives for the future, if we can create the framework, figure out how best to interact with the students now when we have all of them there for feedback, when we have the entire body together, and basically using that framework going forward to ensure that when we do stuff that might not be as high profile, it still gets out to the same people, it still gets out to the student body. And I feel like this is our unique time to do that. Very good.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I yield my time to Patrick.
I thought you were done. There was a pause.
I was going back. I yield to the senator.
I think on Candace's point, I think one of the things we definitely need to do that I mentioned a little bit before, I think like all the context excuse me, is like, I think on this public safety committee, like we believe you, and like particularly I guess the women's, I don't know how the women's center is like exactly structured. Like there should definitely be representatives from both those organizations. I think like most of the stuff going forward. And the reason I'll say STOP is that that's more of a protest organization than like a formally created like student group on campus, right? Because I think STOP isn't recognized by the university, really. So I think like having what we believe you like sit on that committee, I think would be like I think when we think of it, we definitely say like this isn't just SGA and much of administration. Like I want representation from a lot of student groups on campus that have a vested interest in making sure like that their communities are protected by police, from police and stuff like that. So
yeah,
definitely RSA with that word too.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like the way committees go is you like help figure out who's gonna help it and who's gonna do it, blah blah blah. And then you put out who wants to be on it. Like that should involve students, both from staff and we believe you, but also other students that like are on that and care about it that might not be as involved. So that's something that takes a lot of development and I think could be really good. And the only reason I hesitate for that one, the only reason I hesitate for both of these without us having concrete details is because you want to know how feasible things are. Like, and again, like I've been in situations where SGA has typed something up and then they can't do it because of like logistical problems that are no blame to their own, but it comes back on us because we were the ones to get people excited. Does that make sense? So you just want to like play this out carefully, especially where campus is right now of like people want things to be happening and you want to be able to give that to them, but you also want to make sure you can follow through, right? Like you want to be like, yeah, we're going to make this committee and then it doesn't happen and then people are like pissed off and like SGA is, you know, of course, optics is only a small part of our job, but I do want whatever we do to be lasting. And so that's why I just ask you guys to, let's do our like preliminary conversations of like facts and like where we can take this. And then by like October, we should be able to like be publicizing it and bringing people in for like momentum. And I think that's also okay because there's a lot of other things that are going to be happening between now and like October. And I think that's fair. Like, right. So, you know, with a lot of town halls and stuff, I think it's okay that we do that. But my thought is this. So, and tell me guys what you think. So I think Patrick's thing, committees, especially in the climate right now, is something that potentially can't get done. And I think it's going to take work, but I think it can't get done. I see extending counseling services as a demand, yes, but I think also there's more to that. Like I said, money, like that's a big thing.
But wouldn't like even like just advertising it would be good too? Because like I'm not sure, like there's a couple like even seniors that probably don't know about like services like counseling center and UHS.
No, I think sending out resources is different than promising that we're going to get them extended to 24 hours or something.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think potentially, and give me your guys' thoughts, but after we explore maybe that one.
And I also had a thought about UHS. Doesn't UHS only accept like university like accepted like insurances?
No, as long as you have insurance. It's a Maryland system like practicing.
Yeah, if you don't have insurance, you scare on the side of like, or whatever.
That's for if you're a university student, yeah. But like somebody that didn't go here could also go to UHS.
Like I could go.
Because it's like it's within the Maryland like practitioner system.
Okay.
So I think now though, like as a group, we need to figure out if we're prioritizing this one and this is a backup or this one and this is a backup. My mind works like this one first because this could be one that we get told no about and this is one that we can work on without other people giving us feedback. But also this one I don't think should like wait because the answers sooner than later are probably better.
Yeah.
What was your face for? What are your thoughts?
I'm honestly concerned about the communication still because we tried even last year to do something that was like try to some kind of committee with communication and that didn't even work. So to even put that on the back burner more makes me more concerned because it's just like if we don't tell people what's going on, then it's just gonna be like, oh, she does nothing, and that really like makes me nervous.
And I feel like that's like Patrick said a while ago, that's like literally the foundation of all of this, all of these initiatives that we want to, like I guess like see to fruition. Like the foundation of them is having the student body know, and if we don't work on, I guess like proper ways to give them this information, I don't see how far anything can get.
Okay, James and Jared.
What about?
James and Jared, sorry.
Mine's real quick.
Okay.
I really don't mind putting the communications one first because I think for my one thing is like I can send out a couple emails within the next couple of weeks or so and then get the answers back on that relatively quickly. So if you want to make like the main shift this focus onto the getting communications and how to set up, and then once we get the information back, we can determine from there. But I think if your main focus that you're where that communication is going to hit on the back burner, I'm okay with having that start as the initiative, and then if I get information back and it becomes that ours is feasible too, then we can look at it at that point. But
you know,
Hold on, Jared was next. And then you can go.
what about like aside from this, what about like the amnesty one? Did we talk about that much at all?
So that'll group in with like this, and that'll be a goal of like getting the committee established.
Because I feel like that would just be really good, like as far as the communication with students, I feel like if we got that one,
yeah,
that would be something that would really jive with students because it just kind of makes sense.
Yep. My thought kind of goes with Jared.
Yeah, big surprise.
Because like my thing is like
no, we love you.
if we're focusing on communication, like I want to have something to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to just be like, this we are SGA now. It's like I want it to be like this is like I think that's the most impactful way to, like to get someone's attention is like this is what we're gonna do with the student body, and let's now move forward. You're listening to us now. Like now let's keep going. Because like I think that like this is the this is something I talk about actually a lot if you're in like a late night conversation with me. Like after hold on, let me speak. After apartheid ended in South Africa, right, like all this bad stuff comes out, all of a sudden there's like all this stuff. The way they saw that, the way that like, they really like, fixed that issue is by having like this truth and reconciliation thing where it's like everyone comes out and is like, this is what went wrong, now we're gonna fix it. Like that kind of atmosphere is what I think, like obviously not on that scale, but like that kind of idea is what we have now. Is like now we have to all this stuff has come out. Like we figured out all the bad shit that's been hiding under the mattress for like decades or however long this has been going on, years. And now we have to find a way for the entire student body here at UBC to come to terms with that.
I mean, I want to throw something out on the table if you'll let me.
Yeah. No.
I think like remembering that we don't have to do everything. Like the Senate doesn't have to do everything, and this already is a demand of them. And like I think this is something people will continue to push for. Like as far as like services go. So I mean, like if we'd rather prioritize those two and pass like a resolution saying that we support this and that this is something that we think should get done, like that's another course of action we can take because like Jordan and Miriam are right that working on that will not only impact like the work that we do for this, but also the work that we do throughout like the organization, and that it has been a systemic issue over the past few years, and it's just going to keep being an issue until one of us figures it out. So, what are people's thoughts on that?
Question. So,
yes.
The point of this activity, probably because I was in the bathroom, but like the point of this activity was to like basically funnel down what we were going to write for the resolutions, or is it just to find like initiatives that you're going to work on as an SGA?
Yeah, remember last week when we did the paper?
Yes.
This is the part 2.
Mm-hmm.
So everything was written up here and we funneled it down. So these are literally what we're going to work on all year.
So I think what you said, but I don't. Actually, can you repeat what you said a little at the end?
Yeah,
summarize what you said at the end. Oh, not you.
Me?
Lily.
Senate doesn't have to do everything. We can focus on these two, which are also very important, with understanding that we can make legislative action and support this, and that probably it sounded like we believe you also felt very passionate about this, so that other organizations probably will continue to work on this and we can continue supporting them.
I see. Okay.
But
I agree.
Did you have a point?
Yeah, just to add on to the communication, like this just came to me, but like if the news outlets doesn't work or like it doesn't work as a platform or can't get that in place like in time, I think like getting I don't know if it's possible, but getting the UBC main channel, channel 6. Like I'm not sure if people still watch cable TV, but channel 6 that's a UBC channel, but are we like?
I think channel 6 has died off, which is why a lot of people don't know. See, a lot of people don't know about it.
Oh, okay. Well, UBC has a channel 6 on the cable channel, but
enlighten us. Yeah.
But it's pretty much been like it has like the colored bars because it's like it's closed off, nobody uses it. But I don't know if like it exists. It's a cable channel, but
it died off before we got here. Like in the best of times. A lot of times it used to be used for like interviews of faculty.
Yeah, I never got to add that to like the communications, but like if we could somehow get that channel started up again. I feel like that could be like a good way to like communicate with students.
Especially because we're putting a lot more TVs around, especially on the residential dorms. Yeah, so I feel like doing that too, like maybe certain snippets of meetings we go out, or like 30-second little ad boards of like hey, UBC wants your support for this. I'm definitely okay, and I'd like to. We're not really like formal only move, but like I'm in support of doing that Patrick and Mary's idea of basic communication and the staff program. Except for I don't know if mine was like an idea, but looking on, that's more. I don't know if you could really have an initiative that could work 24/7, not really 24/7, but like throughout the year on that and see potential change. No, for mine. For the council.
Yours is valid.
Yours is definitely valid, but I just
but I'm
see
saying
a
like
roadblock.
I don't see that as like something like an initiative that could be actively worked on throughout the year. A lot of it appears is like just waiting for information,
It's a lot of
and then like pushing through the administrative barriers. And I feel like that's something that could be like a one person kind of like going through that. But I don't see it as like something that 4 or 5 people could actively be working on for like a decent amount of time. Whereas communications and the committee, like that's something where people could get together every week and being able to work on that and to be able to start creating small changes. But I think there's just too much waiting involved that it's not worth dedicating 4 to 5 people for the entire semester on something like that.
I also think by creating better relationships with student orgs here, like they can continue to come into our body and like update us on their progress and like making that relationship better. That way we're doing things with them rather than for them. It can also be a good start.
Lunch with club
So what I'm hearing is people tell me if I'm wrong.
Club presidents.
Wait, we just found it. That's the
Alright, I want to power through this last bit of the meeting. I just want to get this done and then we're going to end. So what I'm hearing is, are we going to work on these 2 things primarily? Are these our initiatives? These 2. Is everybody okay with that? I've never been so relieved in my entire life. Alright, great. They'll be fine. It's just markers. They'll be fine. Liam, I'm going to erase this. Yes. Jerry, great. Alright, friends. We did it.
You did it.
How's it feel?
I did some.
Wow. I think I definitely missed the SGA.
Wow.
Wait, we didn't formally vote.
We don't have to.
Okay.
Jared just wants to vote. We don't have to vote on like we don't have to vote on what we work on.
Just so you can vote.
I can't pay
I'm gonna exercise my rights.
With the hand. All right, friends.
Literally the back end.
Colin, can you help me through this? Steering committee updates. Oh, I don't have my notes. Do you have your notes?
No.
All right, great. We're really winning.
Sometimes I just like to just.
I just listen.
So.
I have the flashpoint, lightning point stuff.
Oh, okay.
I'll talk about that.
You go first. Let's shoot first.
Okay, so Dr. Lacey, who works in the Vice President's office, the student affairs, came in and talked to us about. So if you've ever been an RA or like you've worked in res life, there's this thing called Flashpoint that they make you watch. You watched an RA class. I don't know if you got there yet, but it's called Flashpoint on campus, and it's about like how things escalate, and it's very much so one of those like, how do I describe it? There's signs that you're seeing along the way. You just weren't perceptive enough or paying attention or like checking in with people, and it all added up to like escalation. But that most of the time there's like signs that you see before. So they actually got the rights to those videos and have now embedded them into the Student Affairs website. So you doing it? Oh, my bad. So on the Student Affairs website, if you go to About Us, I think it was, and then it'll say like, it says like resources for students and it says Flashpoint. And the faculty staff one is called When Lightning Strikes, and it's about recognizing and preventing violence on campus. And so yeah, feel free to watch them. I know Dr. Lacey said that she was open to like doing smaller trainings with groups and stuff, so I don't know if that's something we would be interested in, but I never think it hurts. So there was that, and then
Len Karen, who's the Associate Vice President for Facilities Management, came briefly to talk about a presentation, which was the status of all gender restrooms on campus. I don't remember the number, but for some reason I said there's like 6 all gender bathrooms in the ILSB, and there are the inclusion of multi-stall all gender restrooms in the ILSB, but they're looking in the academic core, which is, if you think of the tic-tac-toe board with UC being center square, it is really difficult to retrofit those buildings to have all gender restrooms that are also ADA compliant, because those buildings were not designed to have all gender restrooms. So they're looking at short-term plans to include more all-gender restrooms at the academic core, because there will be some in the ILSB, there's some in the Commons, so they're trying to move some that away. And with that being said, they're looking to do a construction project in the RLC to have all-gender restrooms there as well. So I think that was the extent of the all-gender restroom. And then the rest of the meeting was internal elections of the USC. Adam Harvey, who is the vice president for GSA, he is the chair of the University Steering Committee, and Damian Doyle, who is, I think he's an AVP with Do It, or he might, I don't know, is he an AVP?
I mean, he's on the IT steering committee.
Yeah. I don't remember his title, but he works in Do It. And he is, I don't remember his title with the Professional Staff Senate either, but he is the vice chair of the University Steering Committee. And I'm going to say it now because I was trying to say it at the end of the USC meeting and I didn't have the ability to. And Lily and I talked about it afterwards, and I talked about it to other USC members after the meeting. I was uncomfortable because the room that we were in for the USC was all white. And that is not reflective of our campus community. And I think that it's concerning to me that we say that we care about inclusive excellence, and quite literally all the senates, when they came together, did not demonstrate inclusive excellence. So we are talking about, I'm going to have, well, based off of this weekend, that meeting was on Friday, and I was going to start working with Candace Dotson-Reed, who is President Hrabowski's chief of staff, to start having conversations about like what are the next steps given that information. But then last Friday was last Friday. So that's still like very much in the back of my mind and something that I want to address.
Also, Damian Doyle is the Senior Director of Enterprise Infrastructure and Support for Do It. That is his title. Very long. So that
is he the president of PSS?
He doesn't have it in his signature.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's a good question. Also, I did ask the question, and this is just as student leaders to put this on your radar, but with multi-stall bathrooms, I did ask if they, as you guys might know, if you don't, I'll give some background. Multi-stall restrooms have not always been accepted within like society, all gender multi-stall restrooms, due to the issues of like safety and people thinking that people are going to be like harassing people in the bathroom because everybody can go in that bathroom, and it's just a thought that and a misconception, but they don't personally foresee any issues like that. We'll see what at his campus as to how it's like received, but just putting that. It's a good point. I mean, people come from different backgrounds.
I'll say I don't really think it's a good point. It's a point people think about.
Yeah. I think it's something people think about for sure. Or say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about
it,
right. But like I'm telling you what other people and what you might anticipate hearing as things go. Like, also there, she came in to talk about alumni relations.
Yes.
And what do you remember her name? If you like that. Nope. Can you pull up the agenda while I talk about it? So she worked with alumni, and she was talking to us about the programming that they're doing for alumni during homecoming week, and that they're trying to get students to come out to those events. And that, oh wait, no, I don't have it. So fun fact, I just like collect papers in my backpack until it's the end of the week because I'm suffering. So great. Don't judge me. It's fine. It's in here. There it is. That's great. All right, Colin. You can pass it around actually, Kim. Danielle Odom.
Yes.
What's her name? Danielle Odom, Director of Alumni Relations. Also, talk to us about the things that are happening. So if you guys don't know about Grit X, that's like UMBC's versions of like TED Talks, and she wants students to be there, like, and to improve alumni relations and just kind of like be involved in those things. So feel free to take photos of that. There's also a really expensive crab feast on there if you want to go, but like it's pretty expensive. But she said everybody's welcome, so.
Expensive, like crab feast.
Crab feast, like it's like $45. Other than that, does anybody else have any announcements or SGC reports? Go ahead.
Reminder announcement, so they finalized that to the email as requested, so if you want to take note. It's going to be Thursday, September 20th from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. at the Recital Hall in the Fine Arts Building. If you can't make it, there's a form in the email where you can submit a question.
What is this for again?
This is for a quote-unquote listening session hosted by SGA Stereo.
Oh wow, good job guys.
It also includes members of the Counseling Center, the Women's Center, I don't know if Mosaic's there or not.
Probably just campus life.
Yeah, campus life. I think RSA is on there, and then President Hrabowski.
Also MTHC, which is great.
Yeah, I was able to keep my forward. That's what I was able to glean at the time, but I was keeping it.
Cool.
So don't forget, if you could have representation there, really just to hear what other students are saying, especially as we work together to draft our legislation for next Monday. Kind of see if anything happens within the next 3 days, and then from there, how the campus responds to that, and just get the feel before we finish our legislative drafts for Saturday.
Great, thank you. Any other announcements? I know the Women's Center has pop-ups. I don't remember the dates, I'm looking them up. Go ahead, Colin.
So to add on to Liam's point, we just posted on social media a listening session on Thursday, so if everyone could share it, but also invite people to the event so that they can see it. I have a meeting tomorrow about what the format of the event will be. Based on a conversation I had this morning, or another meeting I was in this morning, it will most likely, there are a list of orgs that was listed in the email that came out from Campus Today, as well as SGA and GSA. The students from that will be like driving the car, so we will be needing help at the forum. So I don't know what that kind of help looks like, but if you are available from that time, if you could shoot me an email or a text or something, that way I know that you're free and able, that would be really great. Oh, I had another announcement that was like really important, but it's now gone. Nope, yep, it's gone.
There's always email.
There's always email, because I don't send any of those out.
Right, any other announcements before we go to Pasta Gavel? Go ahead, Brendan.
SSC's are on Thursday.
Yes, they are.
Oh, do we have a link?
Yes.
It's not in our
Just not in
possession
our
yet.
inbox.
Let me email it to, or I'll put it in the Slack.
Please email.
Cool.
Wait.
Please email me.
What was this question?
Someone next time you.
He did join the Slack. It was a momentous occasion. I celebrated with my family. I called my mom. Keon joined Slack. I made a campus wide announcement. Fireworks.
Is there any other announcements? No?
Keon joined Slack. She was the last one.
Everybody gets Keon snacks.
Yes,
Keon.
I did the thing. It got done.
Colin, do you remember? It's coming back to you.
So this, I can't decide if it's an announcement past the gavel. I think it's an announcement. So,
Work related.
Yes.
Then say it now.
Someone, I think actually if we can identify, first off, in our thing, we made a point that whoever spoke would be contacted by a senator. So I think right now it would be good to review who spoke at public forum and then who's going to contact said people. And second, then I think it would be great if we could figure out right now who are the senators that are going to work on resolutions with said folks. So I think now we should have that conversation.
Great. Okay, Patrick, what's up?
Yeah, if I could, one of the girls that spoke, or one of the women that spoke.
Haley.
Actually.
So it was Kim or Haley? Great.
And by the way, I think the message or like the letter that gets sent out, I actually have language drafted from another time for public forum stuff, and I can share that with you all. But I think the message that's being sent to people that spoke at public forum should be pretty similar. I just think it should come from different people.
Okay, so you want to work with them? Is that what you're trying to, or what are you saying?
Well, so yes and yes. I would like to reach out like with the written response, but I also would like to work with them on the issues that we're talking
So, not on the resolution.
No, yes, on the resolution.
He said that.
Oh, on the.
about. No, like the resolution.
Oh, okay.
Isn't the resolution like backing up like this? Like, so not like that.
So that is what
It's
we're
back up their demands.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry, I would thought the UHS stuff was so high.
so Patrick, you also want to reach out to them and send like a thank you and like.
Yeah, so you're gonna reach out to Haley. Kim, sorry.
Well,
Did Haley speak?
Haley did speak.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I think, can we just copy everybody on the email, like thanking them for reaching out and then reach out individually
No.
for like working? No.
Because since they all spoke differently, three people from staff and 2 people from the lead.
I don't think it's fair to not to exclude staff who reached out.
Well,
to
no, that's what I'm
people.
saying. That's why each one should get their own like individual letter. Like we can't just make one form letter and copy all 5 people who spoke on it. Like in the thing we said that a senator would reach out. So I think it's important to let.
I'm not
each
saying that we
person-
shouldn't. I'm just saying, I think the resolution should be a collaborative process, not like 2 from.
Yeah, so there's 2 different things going on right now, right? There's we need one senator per, well, I just want to make it really clear. There's the 1 senator per 1 person that spoke today. That's in one court. And then the other court is we need to identify the senators that want to work on the Senate resolution, or if it turns into a joint resolution.
So I think I confused you guys. I said both because I wanted to do both.
Because you want to do a 1 send down and you want to work on the resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, so then.
It just happens to be like the same person.
Okay,
Yeah,
so then you want to work with Haley. You said Haley and
Kim, because I'm terrible. Patrick said Kim.
I said that I'll work.
Haley and Kim. Okay, great. I just whatever. No, this is just not a process that would make sense. Okay. Because working with the resolutions, Patrick, so you'll be involved in that.
I'll hop on that too.
We
The
had
resolutions and the long letter.
Okay, do you want to do the resolution?
Yes.
So I'll hop that.
Sorry.
I will send out. We want people who send out a letter to people who spoke, and one of the people who works on the resolution.
Okay, who do you want to send it to? You have John, Shannon, Quinn, Haley.
Oh, I guess one.
Great.
Do you remember who Quinn was? Do you know Quinn?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she heard me.
Yeah. Who else wants to get involved?
I remember John, so.
So Jordan, do you want to work on the resolutions, or do you just want to send out?
I just snuck the.
Cool. Thank you. Haley was with you, correct? I can send an email over here. Okay. Now, do we know what the email should say? Is that a follow?
I have a template up.
Great.
That I will fix.
And Keon, you just want to send out the email? Okay.
When should these be sent out by?
I will send them back within the next 48 hours.
Like by Wednesday, yeah.
Definitely before next meeting. That's what we said.
And we just need somebody to reach out to Shannon.
So
do we have their email?
What's the list? I'll send you the template.
Thank you. Okay, can you also include who
Yeah.
he's sending it to?
Yeah.
So John is sending it to Jordan's sending it to John.
Okay, hold on. Jordan, John. Okay.
Kai is sending to Shannon.
Bye. Shannon.
Liam is sending to Quinn.
Quinn.
Keon to Haley. Patrick to Kim. And that's all that's everybody that spoke, right? There's 5. Yeah. Okay, and then Liam and Patrick are gonna work on the resolution. Now,
wait.
huh?
I
What?
help too.
Jared, yes.
Liam, Jared.
Also though, Colin, as far as helping people write resolutions, you, me, or Brandon,
Yeah.
are you available this week?
Sure.
Okay.
I still would like to see it before
Yes.
Saturday at 5:30.
Yeah.
With secretary interviews, I don't think I have the time in my schedule. So if you guys can just also send it to me before the agenda. Great. So Liam, Patrick, Jared, Brandon, and all of that goes to Colin and me.
Great. Alright, so does everybody understand what you're doing? Does anybody?
I have just a question for
Sure.
the Senate. So as a whole, and as far as the demands that STOP made, are you guys looking, or as a whole, are you looking to push forward all of the demands as they stand, or just select them?
I think that if I may speak freely, a lot of these do kind of violate due process. I spoke with Cal about this earlier, like you can't, like just like legally, you can't, as soon as someone's been accused of something, you can't just suspend them from university paid positions and leadership roles and stuff like that, because there does have to be like an element of due process that like, you have to make sure that, of course, that we believe the person accusing, but at the same time, you have to protect the rights of the accused. I think that's something you have to always make sure.
Yeah, until they've been charged, they've just been accused.
Yeah.
So I feel like by that, you want to make sure that you don't get false allegation wrong, because I can say, Colin did X, Y, Z, and then by me simply saying that he deserves to have his position as president removed, his stipend removed, and his financial followers removed before any investigation has even commenced. So.
I feel like, what?
I said thank you.
As a whole, I think, no, we're not looking to like push all of like all of their demands. We're looking to like support them in anything that they may want to, you know, any, no shade, but like any reasonable, like, no shade,
Like the committee.
yeah. So any reasonable demands that we can legally and without liability support.
We'll probably have one resolution per demand that we wish to agree with. But
just
again,
one.
Well,
One
like
per.
one per. So
Like
like,
they want
so
to-
they have a list of about 10 demands. So like the ones that we'll follow, we'll have a separate resolution for each of them that way. You know, if you don't agree with something that we think maybe.
What this does, I think this lets us not have to do the line by line amendment process. It helps us streamline things, like just, and like speaking, because I've been in all UN, if you propose something that someone doesn't agree with, and you have to do a line by line amendment or like a line order vote, it just sucks because there's no easy way to get it through. So I think what that does is it streamlines the process a lot for us to be able to just say like this, not this, we're gonna debate this, and it kind of like cleans it up, I think, a little bit.
If we put it all into one, then it's all amendments. But we can streamline to be like, oh, this one maybe doesn't fall. Like we thought when we were writing resolutions that it would work. By hearing everyone else saying, oh, maybe it doesn't work, but we can just not pass that resolution. But that also, I think we have to alter everything else. So it'll just be one per each one that we agree with. We'll have all that ready.
So do you all that are working on legislation feel supported and capable to figure out which ones should be brought and which ones shouldn't? Or do you guys need?
Capable, I mean, especially because if we get here and then the Senate doesn't agree to it, right? If we're going to be doing it issue by issue, then everyone can just vote it down. You know, if there's still the flexibility, it doesn't matter.
And I feel like a lot of these are kind of common sense. Maybe not like a lot, but I think there are certainly you can discern which ones are like this is not only feasible but like common sense that needs to be done versus like I mean I don't think we should pass anything that calls for the firing of anyone because I think that if we're kind of talking about due process, but at the same time like I don't mind like putting in writing that like we demand that all people who are accountable for this should not even accuse them like if I think I learned a lot from Colin too, and then Brandon was speaking. Like, I think you like call for their resignation when they're found guilty. You know what I'm saying? Like when just there's a better way to do it, I think, than just like demand everyone just leave.
I think they call for resignation.
I feel like right now we're just like speaking semantics and like like very specific things, and I don't think they're necessarily until we've cleared out the more tangible.
So do you plan to bring forward these 10 items as individual resolutions to then be voted on?
Yes.
So individual.
We're gonna write one up for each of them. I mean, it's good practice regardless. But we are expecting some of them to be fully shot down.
One for each of them, or one's for the ones that we think, like kind of like a process. Like, well, then, but then you're determining. I think you're then determining what people get to vote on.
I think all 10 need to be brought up.
Okay.
And then we can vote them up or down, how we see.
They're ones that we're definitely going to be voting, most likely, I'm not gonna say definitely, but they're ones that most likely the Senate will be voting down due to legal issues and things that we can't support, but we'd like to bring all of them up. Just also to show to them that we're not like taking what their demands are and choosing which ones like that we like, or like behind closed doors, instead of doing that publicly, be like, here are all the things that you did, now we're gonna debate why we're voting yes on something and why we're voting no on something, but that's a big part of the transparency. If we decide that outside of the meeting, that's not gonna go over well at all.
How about Jared and Jordan?
Is it best practice to do each one in bites on an addendum?
I think it makes it smoother as far as like.
So it doesn't really matter as far as like impact and how that's gonna like help
then you
people
can just
receive it.
vote on each individually rather than having an amendment document.
But like as far as these resolutions, one of the biggest pieces of it is trying to get to send a message to somebody in a higher place, right? So, right, another Senate. So do you think that by doing them individually, it will weaken that? No. Okay.
I think that'll strengthen it, to be honest, as a whole case.
I thought the idea was that they were going to be like collaborative with like these other groups that came, right? Was that the idea?
It's still well.
Okay. So I guess like just saying like if you're working with them, just to be mindful, like yeah, like we're writing this down, but still this has to be approved by the Senate. You know what I mean? Like we said, like,
being transparent.
Yeah, being transparent that even though we're going through this, doesn't mean that this is something that's actually going to happen. That kind of thing.
And one of the things, like, if I may also, again, like, speak pretty freely, like, I think that we need to kind of use, like, the channels that have already been deemed acceptable by the direction to get a lot of this stuff done. Like, while I agree with all of STOP's, not all STOP's, I agree with a lot of STOP's stuff, like, they're not, like, an official regulation, I think, so having them at the table is important, but I think, like, not prioritizing, but, like, making sure we believe you as a really strong voice and like other survivor groups have a really strong voice, I think is very important because like, to be honest, like this is a very personal thing for me because like at the protest today, I was sitting there and like Dr. Young was there, there were a lot of suits there. And when they were watching these protesters who weren't sure what STOP even stood for, like the leaders, like the guys that were sitting up at on the microphone didn't know what STOP stood for, didn't know what the petition was. That shows to me that they weren't like ready for that, and that's fine. But I think that what also you see from that is like, if I was Dr. Young and I was sitting there, I'm going to be gauging whether or not these protesters are going to be a serious, like, not threat, but like whether these protesters are serious about what they're doing, or whether they're just kind of standing out there, like, talking. And so I think from what she saw, I think that she was not like, yeah, it changed that, but I don't think she saw them as like as anything legitimate. And I know that sounds kind of weird, and I know that sounds wrong, because what they're doing is the most important thing right now. But I think when I heard the women over here speak, that moved me leaps and bounds more than when the men down at the other place spoke. Now, and I understand like the circumstances for those men were different, but I said a few times that in my personal opinion, not like representative of everything else, but I think it should have been women leading that protest from the beginning, and they should have, I think, had a better understanding of like what was going on. And that's just my personal stuff. That's why I think it's important we give them a lot of, like, we believe that should be an organization we talk to a lot.
Just for the legitimacy point, because STOP, again, is a protest group that was created rather quickly for this issue. And it's also the question of, do we want to be super into, like, having them be, like, heading, or not heading, but, like, very high up on the ladder for a lot of these groups, if this is kind of, like, their main issue. But unlike groups like We Believe You, STOP might not have that strong of a presence 2 to 3 months later.
Exactly.
So we just want to make sure that we have legitimacy in those groups, that when we're creating them, they're not doomed to fall apart once the general body interest decreases. As bad as that sounds, but
so like a continuous interest group.
Yeah.
For like, just in case like future events come up.
Yeah, because We Believe You will stick around for a while. But my worry is that when this isn't the hot button issue of the topic, how many people from STOP are going to be? Because a lot of people coming in here were part of other student boards. So they kind of combine together for this. So unless STOP remains like a huge force on campus for the next 3 or 4 months, and going into next year as well, because the plans that we're putting into are
I want to wrap up this conversation, just so it's getting late. We've been here a while. But I do want to take a straw poll on, just to be clear, so I know there's 2 different parts of this document. There's things that get changed. I don't know if the consensus is if we're writing joint resolutions for people to be fired, or if we're doing that for the demands of change. So I just want to pose a question. So straw poll is just an informal vote where I just take like the pulse of the room and which way people are leaning. So I guess how would I best phrase this? Should the legislation on next Monday reflect demands? One or both? One or both?
Can I ask a question?
What's that measure?
Like, what are we legally? Because that's what when I was saying I learned about this weekend. Like, what are we legally allowed to call for? Because I know you guys like in an official document called, or I guess encourage temperatures. I don't know the like however the semantics were. But like, what are we legally allowed to like call for?
I think speaking I think writing legislation and resolutions demanding people be fired, knowing that there is like investigation process to be happening and a process for that to happen, is different than supporting changes on campus that affect students. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't.
But
yes.
So then we have our answer. It's sort of like we can't do anything about like legally like or writing.
I don't know if we can. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know if we can write a resolution to encourage somebody to get fired.
Well, and also like they get really into the weeds in this too. Like I understand Paul Dillon because like there's kind of like that testimony like specifically against him. But we kind of as we move down this like Bobby Boy, Eric Kim, Bob Muma, the Carlos Tercio thing. I haven't seen anything that reports like is like these people are complicit in a rape couple. And so like I don't really feel comfortable like going on a witch hunt here and trying to lock the heads of everyone that we have heard the names of. I think that gets into really sketchy territory of like.
Which is why I just wanted to ensure that we were writing legislation based on the changes of like the 10 demands of like we want this to change on campus versus encouraging a statement of somebody quitting is very different than writing legislation.
Okay.
So are we all on the same page? Do I need to take a straw poll? It sounds like everybody knows what we're all writing 10 for in order to properly address the failures highlighted, not the demanding of people.
No.
So none of these names should end up in legislation. Great. Is that understood?
Yeah.
Great. That was easier than I thought. Fantastic. All right. So before we do pass the gavel, I want us to get into a habit of not saying much work-related things to pass the gavel. So before we end, is there anything else work-related that people want on the minutes? No? Great. So with that, I adjourn this meeting at 9:21. And